You can listen to the Woj Pod on the ESPN app or wherever you listen to podcasts.
Coming up Friday, the Suns advance to the second round. Why this Lakers loss could actually be their best case scenario with LeBron and AD at their core. That's coming up Friday. Chinang Gold Jr., 4 Eastern, here on ESPN Radio and ESPN.
WING 1410 Dayton. Dayton's ESPN Radio. It's live. It's local. It's the Justin Kinner Show with Kev Nash, presented by Kirkland and Summers.
All right, everybody. Justin Kinner, Kev Nash with you here on a Friday. Happy Friday. Woo! I know everyone was concerned about me yesterday, but I did get my golf in. So
you win.
Oh, it was wet as hell. We got through the first 6 holes completely dry, and then 7, 8, 9, we just toughed it out. So, it is what it is.
Better than me.
But nonetheless. So today's interesting. These kind of days come around every so often. They're sprinkled in throughout the year, usually in January. Then March gets here, and then around this May, June time, these kind of days show up. And then, of course, you get to September, October, these days pop up as well. And these days, these 4 periods throughout the year all stem from people hating greatness. People love to watch great players fail. In January, that's usually around the time that you're hoping that Tom Brady fails. You're rooting against the Patriots when he was with the Patriots. It was a tough time for, Tom Brady haters this past Super Bowl, of course. But when Tom Brady and the Patriots lost in his very last game, in fact, his very last pass as a New England Patriot was a pick 6 in the divisional playoff round. So I found that interesting. But nonetheless, people loved it. People love to watch him fail. They loved that the Patriots lost. They loved that they went down against the Titans. Like, they loved it. They loved when Tom Brady failed. And then you get to March, and you love when Coach Calipari in Kentucky fail. You love when Mike Krzyzewski and the Duke Blue Devils fail. You love it. People love it. And then you get to May and April, and you get to May and June. And that's usually around the time that, you're either pissed off because LeBron James is winning a championship, or you're throwing a parade because, LeBron and the Cavs, or LeBron and the Heat, or LeBron and now the Lakers are either losing in the playoffs or losing in the finals. And then you get to September, October, and then them damn Yankees. You hate the Yankees. Everyone hates the Yankees. You love to watch them fail. And that's where we're at today. We're enjoying that period today. Everyone just absolutely throwing parades, social media parades. Everyone is happy. Good. LeBron lost. It's unbelievable, the stuff that I've seen on social media today. And it's interesting because, I have bad news for LeBron haters. He ain't going anywhere. The Lakers aren't going anywhere. They're going to make the adjustments they need to make to this roster. And a year from now, you're going to be right back here bitching and complaining, finding every reason in the world to blame LeBron James for all of your problems. Here's what I don't like when people do, Kev. When people take the only answer, there is only one answer as to what happened last night. Only one. And when people take that only answer and they just eliminate it, they just scoff and just kind of push it off to the side to try to, because that's the only answer that makes sense. It drives me nuts. What happened last night with the Lakers? What happened this series with the Lakers? What happened this final month and a half with the Lakers and LeBron James? It's fairly simple. It really is. And it's not even an excuse. People take the actual answer to the problem and they redefine it as an excuse, trying to deter people from using that answer, which is the only answer, which is this team was beat the hell up. They weren't healthy the final 2 months of the season. They weren't healthy coming into the playoffs. They weren't healthy during the playoffs. The Suns were the better team because the better team on the floor was the most healthy, and that's the Suns. Now, injuries are happening all throughout the playoffs. The 76ers are dealing with it with Joel Embiid. All right. You have the Jazz, who have been impacted by injuries from even earlier on in the regular season. I mean, there are injuries the Nets technically are dealing with injuries in regards to coming off of look at Kevin Durant just trying to stay healthy, trying to stay out on the floor. Injuries, yes, are a part of the game, but just because you use the moniker of, well, injuries are part of the game, and Kev, I know that you refer to that a lot. The injuries are part of the game. Just because injuries are part of the game doesn't mean that you get to eliminate that from the solution or the problem, the answer to the problem. If the Lakers are healthy, we've seen what happens when the Lakers are healthy. And I'm not just talking about last year when they won the NBA championship, because I don't think that's completely fair. This roster is different. I don't think that as much as I was excited about the Lakers and LeBron getting, going to get the point guard from OKC, and he comes over and literally lays an egg in game 5. And he had a pretty nice night last night and Schroeder and dropping 20 points. He's not playoff Rondo. I was really excited about Montrezl Harrell, but I can't believe I'm saying this. He's not Dwight Howard. This Laker team isn't this. But even with all of that, the Lakers were the number 1 team in the NBA when AD and LeBron were healthy to start the season. 2 months into the season, they were the number 1 team. They had more wins than anybody else. They were the best defensive team. LeBron was averaging close to 30 and close to a triple-double. AD was averaging 25-plus and a double-double. The Lakers were fine. We know who the Lakers are when healthy. So when the people keep asking and trying to take a deep dive into what happened with the Lakers, injuries. When you don't have your second best player on the floor, you're not going to win many games. All right. I've said this before. Yes, I'm bringing up MJ and Pippen and the Bulls, Kev, but in all reality here, the one thing that also went very well for the Bulls, Kev, is that outside of the Pippen contract disputes with the front office, they stayed very healthy. It's actually amazing when you look back at how much they drank before and after games and smoked before and after, that group was more durable than half the NBA stars in today's game.
Maybe they need to get with it
right olden times. I would have
a beer during halftime.
LeBron's walking around with glasses of wine. I'd be having that stogie hanging out your mouth the entire time. I would, the point is all day today, everyone panicking. Championship window's closed. LeBron doesn't have a chance. The Lakers don't have a chance. Look, we could talk about health. Health is the reality of it, but that's the reality for every team. But when health does hurt a team, that's the answer. That's the solution. Your Steelers were 11-0. If Bush doesn't get hurt, if those guys don't get hurt, Kev, I'm not saying they're winning a Super Bowl, but they're not losing to the Browns in the wild card round of the playoffs. So I just sometimes you just have to understand that, yes, injuries are a part of the game, but just because they're a part of the game doesn't mean you get to just totally push off the answer of what happened to the Lakers. Injuries. No AD for 2 months, or no AD for a good 2 months. No LeBron for the last month and a half. And then they come back. Keep in mind, Chris Schlott with his sloppy takes. Jordan won a playoff game with the flu. LeBron would have been out for a week. Save your idiotic takes for elsewhere, because he brings them daily and he just does it to try to get a rise out of me. Some days he succeeds. Other days I just laugh him off like I did right there. But the bottom line is injuries. I don't even know if this Laker team fully healthy goes on to win an NBA championship. This is about as deep as the NBA has been in a long time, so I'm not making excuses. But if you ask me why they lost this series, this week, injuries. It's as simple as that.
For sure. I'm with you. Injuries played a big role in this season. COVID played a huge role in this season. I know the light for the NBA gets shined during the playoffs, and whatever happens during the playoffs seems like that's the end of the world. But the things that happen throughout the regular season also matter. The COVID issues that the Celtics dealt with early in the season, the injuries that they dealt with, that has a ripple effect about how they finished the season. Obviously, they played in the play-in game and everything like that. They were missing Jaylen Brown. Kemba missed a ton of time. Tatum caught COVID, is now an asthmatic person. He didn't have asthma before he caught COVID. So that's a ripple down effect. The ripple down effect from the Miami Heat with their COVID and everything. This whole season, it has that extra oomph of COVID in it. Not only the injuries. And yes, 100% injuries are a part of the game. But this is just like I always say, people don't care. They just don't. They just don't, because a couple months ago when the Steelers defense was dropping like flies, nobody cared. Because you know why they don't care? Because the offensive line for the Browns was dropping like flies, but their guys stepped up. Their backup stepped up. So when the backups step up and make plays and do what they're supposed to do and execute and you win games, it's all good. But as soon as things go awry and your team doesn't win, you have that quote unquote excuse to say, well, it was the injuries. But no, in reality of it, nobody cares. Nobody cares about injuries at the end of the day. If it ain't like something like catastrophic, like a Paul George situation when he snapped his leg, nobody cares. Oh man, he got a pull groin. Oh, he'll be all right. Oh, he got a twist ankle. He'll be all right. Unless it's like a KD where it's a torn Achilles, nobody has sympathy. Unless it's something like Klay Thompson where he tears his knee up back-to-back season, nobody has sympathy. I'm not saying I don't have sympathy because I want to see these guys at their best. But the actual fact, the reality of the situation of sports is these seasons are a war of attrition. Like that's part of the gauntlet of the NFL, NBA, and Major League Baseball. Who's the survival of the fittest till the very end? Who's the strongest? Who can stand up and do all these types of things? And that's why another reason why Popovich back in the day, he started doing, the DMP for Tim Duncan. He'll put old in there. And now we know it today as load management. But that started with an organization saying, well, the most important time is playoff time. Our best player, he's getting up there in age. Well, if he only plays like 70 games as opposed to 82 games, he'll be fresher for the playoffs. And then this is snowballed. And now everybody's looking at AD like, oh, man, called him street clothes. He goes out there and tries to play last night, which he shouldn't have. And then he
that was a show.
You think so?
Yeah, and it's our fault. Not like me and you. We don't have that much. It's media's fault.
Yeah.
It's social media's fault. That was strictly done. AD knew damn well he wasn't going to make it out of that first quarter. Jenny Buss and the Lakers front office knew AD wasn't making it out of that first. LeBron and that entire team knew. That was strictly done so that AD, and I have no problem with it. It sounds like I'm like accusing him of doing something wrong here. That was strictly done to shut people the hell up so that he could say, hey, don't question my toughness. I'm trying to come out here. It's like people needed to see that he was hobbled, which is and people have just dug their teeth in deeper now. But do I give him credit for trying? Yes. But with all due respect, I don't want to sound like I'm still like taking a shot at. He knew he wasn't going to be able to play. That was strictly done so that he could at least show that, hey, I'm making an effort. Why was LeBron so loose and relaxed after the game? Because the second that AD went down with that injury, it was known. Remember, I told you that I was like, something seems off about that team. It's not just that they had an off shooting night. They just didn't care. That team knew that all of them know. Like, I don't know why we as fans could sit here and say Lakers can't win a championship without AD. But if the players acknowledge that, then they're quitters, then they're this, they're that. You think that they don't know? They know it before we know it because they know how important he is to that team because they know the game even beyond what you and I know it. They know his presence on the floor is just different. I just think like LeBron, people were ripping him because he was making jokes about Space Jam in the post game. Like he didn't care. He had mentally, when he stormed off the floor with 5 minutes to go in the fourth quarter of Game 5, that was his emotional reaction to, yeah, we don't have a chance. Like that. I'm not saying I'm okay with the player storming off 5 minutes to go. I thought that was a very lame look for him, but whatever. He did it. But that was his emotional response to, man, we're done. We can't do this without AD. So that was that. He got it out of his system then. Last night was a house money game. If the Lakers came out and won, great. LeBron in the Heat, or the Heat, I'm sorry, the Lakers were going to give it a shot in Game 7 and see what happens. But I think that AD, that was a show. The Lakers knew he wasn't going to play moving forward. I think the Lakers accepted they weren't going to win this series without him. That's why that game, just even yesterday, they picked up right where they left off. They were down 27. I tuned in, and I'm like, all right, here we go. Hot take Ken. I'm going to run my mouth. Oh, 27-10. I'm back out on the golf course, But,
how did you view LeBron's performance last night?
I mean, it's the same as every night. I don't even think he played bad. Here's the deal. LeBron never plays bad. There's just some nights that the gas pedal's being pushed down harder than others. Does that make sense? Yeah. Because when that gas pedal gets pushed down, he's a freaking freight train. No one's stopping him. But I think he picks and chooses, okay, am I going to risk a serious injury in a series we can't win in a game that we're already out of? I'm not making an excuse. That's just that older players play by different rules than, MJ had to totally change his game, even changed his game with the Wizards. People think he was bad with the Wizards. He wasn't MJ with the Wizards, but he wasn't bad with the Wizards. He still averaged 20 plus a game. It just wasn't the old MJ. He was old MJ. LeBron's transitioning into old LeBron. I still don't think he looks like old LeBron. I just think we're seeing the beginning stages of him transitioning into that. What did you think? I didn't think it was a bad game. He did his part last night.
And that's what I say about stats don't tell the true story. You look at the box score, it's a good game, man. But it's the effort. It's the how are you getting these points? What are you doing to initiate the action? For 2 games, I've been wanting to see LeBron come out there like game 6 against Boston when he was at the Heat. He'll come out and put 35 up and demolish KG, Ray Allen, and Paul Pierce and Rondo in the first half. We didn't get that. And I was like, all right, that's cool. He's saving it for the home crowd, right? Yeah. We're about to see LeBron's performance in game 1 of the NBA Finals when J.R. Smith forgot what time it was on the clock, where LeBron James dropped like 55 points in those NBA Finals. Was a complete dog out there, driving, 3-pointers, turnarounds, just doing everything. And it was just him going through the motions. So that's what I say about LeBron during the regular season. He can do what he did last night in his sleep. He is that skillful of a basketball player where he can get 20-plus points, 8 rebounds, 7 assists without even thinking about it. So when people be like, oh, look at these stats that he had last night, I don't care because he does that all the time. That's what he does. When the chips are down like it was against the Miami Heat, well, when he was with the Heat and he did that, the performance that he had in game 7 versus the Spurs, when they had the miracle shot from Ray Allen, because remember, they were about to lose the series. They were about to lose. Ray Allen hits that shot. And then, all right, it's tied up. They have to go win it. And that performance that he put in on game 7 of that, the performance that he put in game 7 versus Golden State, the performance he put on dropping a 45 piece against Golden State in game 5, then followed it up with 42. That's the effort I want to see from LeBron. And we didn't get that at all. So is it the ankle or is it the fact that like, man, I ain't got it. We ain't got it. Let's just go ahead and get this season over with. Let's go on this press run for Space Jam. Let's all get rested up. Let's get healed up for next season because it's a wrap. I can't explode the way I want to on this ankle. That's what I was looking at. We never got that signature LeBron playoff performance that we're so accustomed to because these stats that he put up are meaningless because not only the effort wasn't there like on offense, but the defensive effort wasn't there either.
Yeah, the only thing about that is LeBron played last night the way he's played all season. And the reason it looks like there was no effort being made is because usually that's complemented with the play of AD and they just look like one complete package. LeBron, you're using games from 8-9 years ago.
That was like 3 years ago.
You're talking about him when he was when you're bringing the Heat up? That was not 3 years ago. You're talking about him
against the finals.
But the
finals against the Warriors, that was 3 years ago.
But he was, I mean, that's 34. He's 37.
Shoot, he just
I'm a hypocrite because I'm sounding like a hypocrite. I'm not using age as an excuse, but I also like does not play the way that he used to either. That's why he focuses so much on the 3 line.
Piece in the finals this past finals.
First of all, he's capable of dropping 50 on any given night, but at the same time, that ankle, not an excuse. That ankle, he's not bursting off of that. In fact, that's why in that third quarter of game 5, he was just jacking up threes the whole time, but he's making them threes. And I also think, too, it's one of those things where if he goes balls to the wall on that ankle and injures it, and they have a chance to get to the second round, then they've eliminated themselves completely. Bottom line is they weren't beating that Suns team without Anthony Davis. Here's why. When it was just LeBron's Lakers 2 years ago without Anthony Davis, they don't even make the playoffs. Now, maybe they would have made the playoffs had he been healthy to finish that season to maybe chase an 8 seed, but he wasn't going to go balls to the wall to get an 8 seed to get into the playoffs. It is what it is. The Lakers were picked to win the championship last year because they had Anthony Davis. They were picked to win it again here in year 2 with Anthony Davis because they had Anthony Davis. When you don't have Anthony Davis, you're not winning a championship. If the Bulls would not have had Scottie Pippen, and by the way, yes, I know we've had our heated debates about MJ LeBron. I will continue to bring that up because that's the only other player you can compare LeBron to that's on the same level of trying to use a talking book because I'm not going to use anyone else in the league right now because it's not on the same level. LeBron, or you take Pippen off any of the, Pippen was healthy in every single damn game throughout those finals runs. Same thing with MJ. You take Pippen out of any of those five. If you take Pippen out of any of those five, they're not beating the Supersonics without him. They're not beating the Lakers without him. They're not beating the Trailblazers without Pippen. They're not beating the Jazz twice without him. And what was the other? Oh, the Suns. They're not beating any of those, that's not a shot at them. That's just the reality of it. So that's where I'm kind of at here. Not excuse. I hate when people say, well, injuries are part of it. They are, but you can't take common sense out of the rationale behind, well, why did the Cavs in that first year against the Warriors, can I guarantee that they would have won if Kyrie is healthy? No, but I mean, look how damn competitive they were, even with Matthew Dellavedova being the second best. Actually, Tristan Thompson was, but I like using Matthew Dellavedova to be more dramatic. And plus, I like saying that dude's name. But, like, you know what I mean? Like, I can't guarantee that they beat the Warriors that year if Kyrie's not down and hurt and Kevin Love's not down and hurt. But when the Cavs were picked to win the championship that year because you had LeBron, Kyrie Irving, Kevin Love. And you didn't have Kevin Love, you didn't have Kyrie Irving. LeBron loses in the finals and people lose their damn mind and say, see, another finals loss. Just totally ignoring the rationale of how injuries played a role there. Fast forward a year later, that Cavs championship, I'm not ignoring the fact that Draymond wasn't on the floor for that game and how that would have dramatically changed the shift of being up 3-1 and how that totally changed the momentum for the Cavs going forward. Those things matter. They play a role in it. Absolutely. That's why, the Warriors a few years ago, I'm still sticking to that. They beat the Raptors if those dudes are healthy. They weren't healthy. Point is I just don't like, and I'm not saying you're doing that, but there are a lot of people out there, including on social media, who've come at me today. Doesn't matter. MJ would have won with this group. Shut the hell up. You sound like a moron. It's amazing to me, the people that say they don't watch the NBA, that they don't watch LeBron, they don't watch the Lakers. They're coming on here like they're Brian freaking Windhorst trying to tell me about the game that I actually watched. Like, that's what's crazy. You could tell me whatever you want because I know you watch the game. But these people who like to wave the America flag and say, I don't watch the NBA. Ha ha, America. I don't watch the NBA. I don't watch that crap, but yet they want to tell me like they know what the hell they're talking about. Give me a break.
My thing about it is, in about 10, 15 years, when we're like all finally done with the LeBron and Jordan debate, because we'll be on to the next person to debate about everything like that, and LeBron's sitting in the Hall of Fame, owner of a team and everything like that, and his record is going to be whatever it's going to be. Nobody's going to talk about who was injured, because nobody talks about when the Lakers beat Detroit Pistons in the finals, where Isaiah Thomas was playing on literally a broken ankle. Like, eventually, like, the here and now kind of fades away into oblivion, because, like we talked about yesterday, new people are going to be on these microphones that we're talking about now, and
the hell they are.
They're not going to have the same cognitive memory of that. They saw the highlights on YouTube, like, or whatever tube is going to be in, and it's just going to be a fly by night situation. Over time, it just becomes what you did and what you didn't do, and all those subtle things that are super important just go by the wayside and everything like that. I noticed that from watching the Last Dance documentary. They left out a major point, and I know we got to get the break. One of those game winners that Jordan hit, they were down a bucket, but Karl Malone got fouled, and he was at the free throw line, missed both free throws. And in between one of the missed free throws, Scottie Pippen tells him the mailman doesn't deliver on Sundays, and he missed the second free throw. Bulls get the rebound, call a timeout. MJ gets the ball, hits the game winner. Bulls win by 2. That's an important part that was totally left out of a Last Dance documentary about their championship season.
Give Pippen credit for beating the Jazz.
Saying, right? That's how things go. Like, those subtle details that
the shot.
Yeah,
the shot. That's all you remember.
Well, there's a lead up to that. There's something else that happened, because in an alternate reality, Karl Malone hits both free throws. Now you got to hit a 3. MJ is a 31% 3-point shooter. So does he really hit that 3, or does he miss? So those small subtle details in the future, 10, 15 years from now, they're going to be like, yeah, AD was hurt for that game, but yeah, man, LeBron should have still won. And I think people right now are fast forwarding to that. They're not taking into account that, hey, man, that does have a effect on how they play. But like I said earlier, man, people just don't give a rip unless you are down on your knees and like getting out there in a wheelchair looking like Kevin Durant or Klay Thompson. People have zero sympathy.
No, but that's not true. Russell Westbrook will always be the reason why I'll never believe that view. because that dude plays harder than anyone in the league. When you want to ask me who's the closest player in the league to Kobe Bryant, it's him. And it's not because the talent's not even like the skill sets aren't the same. Kobe doesn't play like Westbrook, but they have that killer instinct, effort, that mind, that like, I'm not your friend on the court. I'm going to rip your freaking face off. I've never experienced Westbrook not have effort out on the floor. So that's why I disagree with that to a certain point, because there's just certain players that there's a narrative that follows them from place to place. And I can't sit there and look. I don't know if he can win a championship being the number one player. Actually, no, I know he cannot be the number one, which is something I want to talk about a little bit of how we distinguish who a number two is on a roster. But lots of good stuff on the Facebook reaction and YouTube. We'll get to that coming up here in just a moment. I'm Justin Kinner. He's Kev Nash. We got NBA playoffs over under, but I want to pick up with some of the reaction to on Facebook and on YouTube. Some good stuff there. Again, last night, LeBron James, for the first time in his 18-year NBA career, knocked out of the first round of the NBA playoffs, and people are having a field day. I said this to open up the show. There's just about 4 days, four periods throughout the month or throughout the year where people just absolutely lose their minds and love to watch the failure of greatness. You love to watch LeBron fail. You love to watch Duke and Calipari and you love
Alabama.
to watch Duke and Krzyzewski, Calipari in Kentucky. You love to watch Alabama fail in football.
And they love to watch the Buckeyes fail.
Absolutely. ESPN, everyone ESPN hates the Buckeyes, remember? So that's the thing. Like there are just certain guys, and today it's just we feel I wake up feeling this way about 4 times throughout the year where I just know I'm gonna have to hear non-rationale. Like people are not using any kind of rational thinking at all when it comes to LeBron James. What happened to LeBron James and the Lakers? I mean, injuries. It's not an excuse. It's not an excuse. It's just the reality of it. I hate when people want to take the only answer that makes sense and eliminate it because it doesn't fit what you're feeling of. No, LeBron sucks. We can't say that it was injuries that kept the Lakers from winning that series. It's just simple. LeBron sucks. He's not MJ. He sucks. That's where my temper comes into play, and then I take it out on Kev, and then I almost get fired.
The most rational person you know.
Then I almost get fired because I yelled at Kev, and can't yell at Kev because Kev's precious baby boy around here. Kev's the favorite. There's just Kinner being an a-hole again now. We'll be back in a moment. More of the Justin Kinner Show with Kev Nash, presented by Orion Sports Medicine. Don't go anywhere.
It's the Justin Kinner Show with Kev Nash on 1410 ESPN Radio. ESPN 1410 Wing AM weather.
This afternoon will be partly cloudy, a high near 85. Tonight's going to be mainly clear, a low near 61. And tomorrow will be mainly clear, a high near 86. I'm Pete Spivak for 1410 ESPN Radio.
Weather brought to you by Cullet Seal Coating, protecting the asphalt surfaces around your home, office, or commercial property. Crack filling, asphalt sealing, and parking lot striping. Find us at culletsealcoating.com.
I'm Dr. Andrea Russo, a cardiologist. Maybe you're waiting to talk to your doctor right now. But if you're having an irregular heartbeat, heart racing, chest pain, shortness of breath, fatigue, or lightheadedness, don't wait. This could be a serious condition like atrial fibrillation, which can make you about 5 times more likely to have a stroke. If you're having these symptoms, don't wait. Talk to a doctor by phone, online, or in person.
Brought to you by Bristol-Myers Squibb and Pfizer.
Save today on everything for your home with 11% off everything. Right now at Menards. Menards has a great selection of screws and fasteners from top brands like GripFast. We carry everything to help you take your projects from start to finish. Save today with 11% off on all GripFast screws and fasteners. Good through Saturday, June 5th. Savings are a mail-in rebate. Some exclusions apply. See store for details.
Save big money at Menards.
Head outside and take a deep breath of fresh air. Feel the sun and the breeze. Everything just feels better. Spending time outside, like at an Ohio State park, is a natural way to boost your well-being and mental health. The parks are there for everyone to enjoy. Just 15 minutes spent in nature can restore you, leaving you feeling refreshed and energized. And now, connecting to the outdoors is even easier with Ohio's new Detour Trails app. Visit detourtrails.ohiodnr.gov to find a nearby trail that's perfect for you. Need more help coping with life's challenges? Call the Ohio Care Line at 1-800-720-9616 for free emotional support. That's 1-800-720-9616. So go on, get outside and thrive. Sponsored by the Ohio Departments of Natural Resources and Mental Health and Addiction Services. Aired by the OAB and this station.
You have empty office space to fill or home office to create. You know what you need. You know what you'd like. But you also have a pretty good idea after you've shopped around the usual places what you need and what you like might not happen. Well, then you haven't been to Charles Larrick's Warehouse Outlet. Nobody has their selection. Nobody has their discounts. And every week there's something new. If you need office furniture, Larrick's Warehouse Outlet can sell it to you for half the price and below manufacturer's selected prices. Half price and below on hundreds of items. Selection from budget to the best. Really, desks from $50 to $5,000. Filing cabinets from $25 to $500. Before you go anywhere else, do yourself a favor and come to Larrick's Warehouse Outlet. With 25,000 square feet of selection, you're not going to go anywhere else. Larrick's Warehouse Outlet at 23 McOil Avenue, Dayton. Open Monday through Friday, 9 to 6. Larrick's, continuing the tradition.
Because it's my vision, I take the most studied eye vitamin brand.
Because it's my vision, I take the eye vitamin brand backed by 20 years of research.
Because it's my vision, I take PreserVision.
Age-related macular degeneration is the leading cause of vision loss in adults over 60. That's why the National Eye Institute did 20 years of clinical studies on the formula that's found in PreserVision. From the eye experts at Bausch & Lomb, PreserVision AREDS 2 formula eye vitamins contain the exact nutrient formula recommended by the National Eye Institute to help reduce the risk of moderate to advanced AMD progression.
Because it's my vision, I made a plan with my doctor that includes PreserVision. Find PreserVision in the vitamin aisle and look for savings on PreserVision AREDS 2 in your local paper. Available at Walmart.
These statements have not been evaluated by the Food and Drug Administration. This product is not intended to diagnose, treat, cure, or prevent any disease.
With double the seasoned beef and a large drink all for $5, Taco Bell's Grande Nachos truly deserves a Grande intro, perhaps with a Grande beat box. Said it's crunchy, cheesy, beat. Actually, that sounded better in my head. Go get the $5 Grande Nachos before they make every exit. Nope, only at Taco Bell. At limited participating locations for a limited time only. Price and participation may vary. Tax extra. Drinks excludes freezes. Double the seasoned beef as compared to the Nachos Bell Grande.
It's like I blinked and suddenly all my business shifted to e-commerce.
Now my business hours are whenever my customers need me.
My customers want everything now and faster than ever. It's a whole different world.
Your business is changing. The United States Postal Service is changing with it. We're bringing you fast, reliable shipping nationwide, and we're bringing it right when your customers need it. Let's discover new routes. Visit USPS.com/new routes. The United States Postal Service. Priority, you.
I'm CBS News business analyst Jill Schlesinger with a quick tip from H2O Wireless on stretching your budget and saving money every month. Start with your recurring monthly bills, and here's the easiest one, your cell phone bill. Verizon, AT&T, and T-Mobile charge premium rates for unlimited data, when in all actuality, you have no need for that much data. H2O Wireless, on the other hand, is on the exact same network as one of those carriers, but charges you half. The average family of four is saving over $70 a month without having to sacrifice coverage. And listen to this, unlimited talk, text, and 15 gigs of data for just $36 per month. Switching is as easy as swapping out your SIM card. You can keep your phone and your phone number. Here's how to get the best deal. This month, dial pound 250 and say keyword get H2O. You'll save an additional 50% off your first month. Dial pound 250 and say get H2O for this exclusive offer and start saving today.
At Panera, dinner is hot and ready to serve. Bring home Panera's cheesy flatbread pizzas, toasty sandwiches, or creamy mac and cheese with delivery or pickup. Availability and pricing may vary.
There are many ways to catch the Justin Kinner Show with Kev Nash on 1410 ESPN Radio, weekdays from 3 to 6 p.m. You can catch it live right here on 1410 Wing AM, or you can stream the show at wingam.com. But now we have another way that you can take in the show. You can now watch the Justin Kinner Show with Kev Nash live on ESPN Dayton's Facebook page. Listen, stream, watch. It's the Justin Kinner Show with Kev Nash, weekdays from 3 to 6 p.m. on 1410 ESPN Radio. On Twitter, make sure to give us a follow. Search 1410 Kinner for Justin Kinner on Twitter. That's 1410 KINNER. And ESPN Dayton for the station Twitter handle.
All right, Justin Kinner, Kev Nash, back with you here on 1410 ESPN Radio. Man, I really wish social media, like I've asked this before, I'm not doing bringing up the MJ thing to do the MJ versus LeBron thing. Michael was not universally liked, correct? Or was he?
Yeah, he was. So outside of,
but do we know that for sure? Because social media now is social. Like we think LeBron's the most hated athlete of all time, but how can we use that? How can we prove otherwise? Because the platform now is there. Like if there was no social media, I don't know how I would be able to figure out who's hated in the league outside of just fan reactions to that. Clearly it could be done because
I think just from my point of view, from growing up in that era and everything like that, seeing MJ play a ton, I don't think you can actually quantify it, but I believe that he was like universally loved by the fans because you can look at how he's embraced when he came to New York. Like they chanted MVP for him. He's the road dude. Now you could say, hey, man, they did the same thing for Kobe, but Kobe is a clone of Michael Jordan. But then you look at Miami. Miami retired his jersey. He didn't play for y'all. I think the impact of Michael Jordan and also like people like that just like appreciated like MJ. Like I don't think overall people appreciate what LeBron does on the basketball court.
And by the way, I'm not a big it's like people keep bringing up the Columbus incident with the cop where he was calling for that cop's job. And it sounded like the tweet was twisted to sound like LeBron was putting a hit out on this guy. Whatever your opinion on that is, that's not what we're diving into here. But you are absolutely full of fill in the 4-letter non-FCC approved word at the end. If you like, I love that people have been wanting a real reason to hate LeBron because they sound stupid when they say he's not good. Because if anyone out there thinks LeBron's not good, you're just a freaking idiot. Sorry, don't care. I don't care about. Everyone has an opinion, and not everyone's. Not just your opinion's not right either. No, you're a freaking idiot if you think LeBron's not good at basketball. There's the only way.
It's one of the best of all time.
But people using what happened, the tweet about the cop in Columbus, they're like, no, man, I hate him because of this. No, you're a dumbass. You hated him before that.
Right.
And like now you just found something like tangible that you can now use as, this anti-American, blah, blah, blah. Shut the hell up. You sound like an idiot. I don't care. I'm calling a lot of people names right now, being very aggressive because people have been like the same people that were aggressive about LeBron before that tweet are just louder now because now they have something else, something new. They got bored with the free throws thing. They got bored with the super team thing. They got bored with the you're not as good as MJ thing. So now they're just going with the he's anti-American thing. Like that's just what people do. And it's absolutely sickening because that's why I was asking, MJ, I mean, there's no reason to dislike MJ, but I just feel like what is it about the last 2 decades that we just hate greatness? We hate Tom Brady. We hate LeBron James. We hate greatness. Anyone that becomes good, we hate him. And that just doesn't make it. I don't understand that. Why do we? I guess in baseball, there hasn't been a breakout star honestly, there has not been a breakout star in baseball. I mean, even Barry Bonds, I'm trying to remember back to when I was younger. Yeah. He was hated, but there was a reason to hate him. He was chasing, and baseball is one of the most, they love their pastime, their history, their records. Like that's the one sport that the records mean more to than anything else. And I think that's another reason baseball is kind of taken a hit is because the things that used to matter, the things that used to drive the sport, no one believes in the sanctity of those records anymore because we don't know how true they are. Barry Bonds spit on the history of the game with the steroid stuff. So I get why he's hated, but what did LeBron do? Did he, is it because he opened up a school for, his hometown? Is it, I don't understand it. Like, I mean, if it's as simple as MJ's my dude, fine. But that's not what it is. It's very weird.
Yeah, this is what we were talking about yesterday about, growth of people and everything like that. But these are one of those situations we were talking about with the transfer portal, like unforeseen repercussions. This is unforeseen repercussions of social media and everybody having a voice and everybody being able to voice their opinion. Before, the only opinions you really heard from were, sports writers and actual journalists. So now you have every barbershop in the world. So you get your news at the barbershop. You know, you talk sports at the barbershop or hanging out with your buddies. But now everybody and their mom has an opinion, and you can see everybody's opinion on your phone constantly, nonstop. And we have become so addicted to our phones that the very first thing that you do is touch your phone. Because why? Because, hey, I got to turn my alarm off because it's going off. Let me see what happened in the world of sports while I was asleep. Oh, the Lakers lost. Oh, let me see what funny memes is out there. Oh, let me send this to Kenner at 5 something in the morning. I've sent you like 10 text messages before I even had a cup of water. So like, that's how addicted we are to this social media, and everybody is trying to jump over everybody. Everybody wants to have a hotter take than the next guy. Everybody wants to have a funnier meme than the next guy. It is a battle for, I want to be seen. I want to be heard. I don't like this person. Well, I don't like this person more than you don't like that person. No, well, I'll show you how much I don't like them. I'll say this. No, I'll say this. And then it just doubles and triples over and over and over and over. And I am a person that believes that, you know, hey, man, you have every right in the world to voice your opinion, but to a certain extent, because I don't listen to dummies. People that saying LeBron James isn't a great basketball player, they're dummies. And your opinion doesn't matter, because if you ever watch the game of basketball, you know that LeBron James is one of the best basketball players of all time. Now, my cousin, love him dearly. He hates LeBron, but even he knows that LeBron is one of the best basketball players of all time. He's like, yeah, he's great, but I'm a Kobe dude, so bleep him. Yep. So, and those arguments, I love the team. Yeah, those are fine. That's normal sports stuff. But when you just flat out lying to yourself, because you're not lying to me, because I know the truth, you're lying to yourself because you know the truth. You know this dude is a beast. Come on, man. Like, let's be for real, man. Like, I'm an MJ guy. Okay, fine. We can differ there. But there's no doubt in my mind that this dude is one of the best players I've ever seen in my life. Like, he's done things I've never seen on the basketball court. Like this, like that defensive play he had against Andre Iguodala in the finals is the best defensive play I've ever seen at a high level moment ever in basketball.
Yeah, we talk about clutch game winners. We talk about clutch shots. We talk about, clutch moments, clutch passes, but that was a clutch stop. I can't think of another clutch stop. And, maybe the steal by Bird, but it led to an offense.
Around the back pass.
But outside of that, that's the only other iconic defensive.
Steal by Bird, laid in by DJ.
And blocked by James. Like, those are the two most iconic defensive stops to a game that I can, ever remember. The other thing, too, is, and again, Team Jordan, cool. But, I will give Team Jordan people this. Team Jordan people don't say LeBron sucks. No. Other way around. I'm sorry. Team LeBron people don't say MJ sucks. They just can't fathom how LeBron, like, it's just a gap between the two. We're not getting into that argument. I'm just saying, like, it's weird. Or the MJ people, like, just not you necessarily, but of course there's a bad pocket of every group of people out there. That pocket right there goes at, like, they just list why LeBron sucks for every little thing. Oh, because he flops a lot. So that's why he's not as good as MJ, because he flops a lot. Like, that doesn't make any sense. So all his talent, everything he's done since he was in middle school means nothing because he flops. Okay. Those are the level of human beings that we deal with on social media on a day in, day out basis that I waste my time giving attention to, that I need to learn to just stop, because it drives me nuts. I have this obsession with trying to get people to think like me, but not everyone can be as smart as Kidder. I'm just saying,
I will give you, this is what we're going to do, especially what month is it? June? So July, some week in July, you can only go on social media during the show. Wow. So only from you got to do a little bit of show prep. So from 2 to 6 for an entire week, not just the work week, not through Monday through Friday, from Sunday to Sunday, you can only be on social media from 2 until 6.
Yeah, maybe.
You think you could do it? You think you could? Oh, Mike, you could do it, man. Nope, I got more confidence in you than you have in yourself.
Basically. We'll see. Real quick to the Facebook reaction. We go here. Keith Tolliver wrote a book. He goes again. So let me reset here. Talking about opened up the show, talking about everyone just going in and ripping LeBron, trying to use last night as a barometer for why LeBron proved last night why he's not as good as MJ. There are a million bullet points out there that I can go and find that I could at least give credence to as to why MJ is better than LeBron. But if you think that LeBron losing in the first round for the first time in his 18-year career is all of a sudden why that's why MJ is better, once again, you are an idiot. All right, that's all I got to say right there. But the bottom line is that yesterday the Lakers were the favorites to win the title last year because they got Anthony Davis to put with LeBron James. They were the favorite to repeat this year because, well, they had Anthony Davis. When you don't have Anthony Davis, you're no longer the favorite to win the championship. I think it's that simple. I don't know why we make things more difficult. Like we put these expectations there for anybody. And that goes, like the Warriors a few years ago. I didn't expect the Warriors to beat Toronto or anybody when the whole reason that they are one of the most explosive, biggest dynasties of all time was because Kevin Durant went to a team that won 70 games without him, that had already won a title without him. You add Kevin Durant, one of the greatest of all time, to that mix. There's a reason that they are viewed the way that they are. And then you take a couple of those pieces out. It's not that hard to figure out why when the Raptors beat the Warriors didn't beat the Warriors, but they beat the Warriors. They won a championship. They made the shots that they needed to. They got it done. The bottom line is that I don't like when people say, well, injuries happen, because yes, they do happen, and they happen and they matter. I can't just say that they happen, that the Warriors lost Kevin Durant and Steph Curry and Klay Thompson, so they should still be the Golden State Warriors. It doesn't work that way. The Lakers lose Anthony Davis. It doesn't work that way. And by the way, LeBron's taken the brunt of the criticism, but Schroeder was straight garbage. I know it's not okay to call players garbage anymore, but in the playoffs, you can't put up goose eggs. I know we put up 20 last night, but we don't have time for you in the 7-game series to put up goose eggs in any of the games. Montrezl Harrell, 6th man of the year. He's like, if there was a 150th man award, he'd win that this year. I mean, what the hell's going on there? I told you before.
My guy is Kuzma.
And who was the untouchable of Ingram. And by the way, of all the former Lakers that were drafted, he's proven to be the worst one now. Ball was more productive for the Pelicans than Kuzma's been for the Lakers since then. You look at Julius Randle. Look how productive he's been since then. Was nearly in the MVP conversation. You look all around the league. Look at Ingram with the Pelicans. Kuzma, you're right. I mean, so
LeBron about to ship him to the Cavs.
To punish him, exactly. So the point is why do we do this thing where we act like, well, injuries are part of the game, so it doesn't matter? It does matter. Both can be true. Injuries are part of the game. You're expected to fight through it, but at the same time, if you're expected to win a title when healthy and injuries happen and you don't win the title, you kind of have to shift your criticism a bit and stop holding LeBron to the standard of still should have won. So what world are you living in that LeBron can lose Anthony Davis at 37 years old and still should have won? Stop. That's stupid because, again, I'm not taking a shot here at the Bulls. Injuries happen. Luckily for the Bulls, injuries didn't happen for them. They were very healthy, all things considered, throughout all 6 of those title runs. But like Pippen was there. Pippen was, that one year that they did lose in the split year. So they won their 3. MJ left, MJ came back, and then Pippen wasn't the same. But look what happened there. They couldn't even get back to the finals that year that MJ came back because Pippen wasn't the same. Was anyone saying, man, MJ, you don't have it anymore? No. It's just, man, if Pippen doesn't go down, even the document, Pippen doesn't go down, they go on to win it. So why do we act like injuries? Yes, they are part of the game, but like they matter. Your Steelers in the NFL, that team, they were 11-0. They were rolling defense. I mean, that's why they destroyed the Browns the first time they played and then didn't look like the same Steelers the last 2. Yes, I love bragging about the Browns beating the Steelers, but did the Browns beat the Steelers?
Yes, they did.
All right, Homer.
They actually, technically, you're right.
Yeah,
that is my hometown.
All right, folks, we'll be back in a moment.
Listen, stream, watch. It's the Justin Kinner Show with Kev Nash right here on Dayton's ESPN Radio, 1410 Wing AM.
At Napa, when it comes to serving you, our motor never quits. And when it comes to getting you the part you need when you need it, with next day delivery or same day pickup, our motor never quits. And when it comes to making a difference in our local communities by hosting fundraisers and food drives, our motor never quits. And when it comes to telling you our motor never quits, yep, you guessed it. Our motor never quits. That's Napa know-how. Same day pickup and next day delivery available at participating stores and on in-stock items only.
Wendy's Frosty Chino is cold brew with frosty creamer. What does that mean? It means we took rich, smooth cold brew and then added your choice of vanilla or chocolate frosty creamer. Can you say good morning? Or better yet, Wendy's Frosty Chino? It's cold brew with frosty creamer. It's only at Wendy's and it's delicious. So ditch the stuffy coffee shop and say hasta la vista, barista. Choose wisely. Choose Wendy's Frosty Chino and start your morning right.
at participating U.S. Wendy's.
All right, is that a Q2 or Q3 expense?
Dwayne's CPA went MIA. To keep his books and his sanity, he needs to find a replacement ASAP.
Hey, Johnny, have you ever heard of a fungible good?
Indeed can help him hire the people he needs.
I need Indeed.
Indeed you do. When you sponsor a job, you immediately get your short list of quality candidates whose resumes on Indeed match your job criteria. Visit Indeed.com/credit and get $75 towards your first sponsored job. Terms and conditions apply.
Do you check your Google search results regularly? You should. People often get their first impression of you or your business online. Negative comments on the internet can impact your life and your livelihood. Take control of your online reputation. Get your free reputation report card at reputationdefender.com. It may reveal negative posts from an ex-employee, upset patient or client, news article, legal issue, or even exposed personal information right there in your Google search results. Uncover what's lurking on the internet about you with reputationdefender.com's patented scan and get your free reputation report card. Or for immediate assistance with your reputation, call 800-401-6681. Our cutting-edge technology helps make your Google search results look their best. Call 800-401-6681. That's 800-401-6681. 800-401-6681. Or take the free scan at reputationdefender.com.
We're taking the masks off and putting the sunglasses on. Excited to see family, travel, or attend a ball game. You deserve your best vision. Dr. Patrick Spencer of iWorks Laser and Vision Center has 23 years of experience in cataract surgery with multifocal lens implants. These premium lenses allow you to read a menu and drive without glasses. Dr. Spencer is the area's 5-star eye care provider. Call 937-226-7870 because at iWorks, it's about seeing your best. Visit iWorksLVC.com.
Cordell Transportation is now hiring Class A CDL drivers. $5,000 sign-on bonus. That's right, $5,000 sign-on bonus. Home daily dedicated lanes, no-touch freight. Apply today at CordellTransportation.com. Cordell Transportation, driven to succeed.
I can't take this anymore.
I lost my job.
I feel alone.
The Crisis Text Line is here to help day or night. Text 4HOPE to 741-741 for free and confidential support. Text with a trained volunteer to move from that hot moment to a cool calm.
Goodyear knows the importance of keeping momentum as you head down the stretch. Momentum starts with movement. It's pulled from the air like a contested rebound. Momentum builds with steals and fast breaks, and is proven by deep threes as the shot clock expires. Momentum is how we change the game, and now it's time to discover where it can take us. Goodyear, more driven. It's time for some straight talk. Sure, saving money feels good, but cutting your wireless bill in half, that feels really good. Like walk-off home run in the 9th inning kind of good. Okay, maybe not that good, but pretty darn good. With Straight Talk, you can get 25 gigs of high-speed data for $45 a month, up to 50% less than the other guys. Plus, no contract. All on America's best networks. Why pay a whole lot when you could pay half? Straight Talk Wireless. No contract, no compromise.
If you're not already following the official Reds accounts on social media, you should be. Get breaking news, game day information, and exclusive behind-the-scenes coverage. Follow @Reds on Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, and TikTok. Plus, sign up today for the official newsletter of the Cincinnati Reds and never miss a beat. Visit Reds.com. That's Reds.com.
Mattress Firm's best Memorial Day sale ever has been extended for a limited time. Shop and save up to $500 on top-rated brands like Sealy and Sleepy's.
He's a former Buckeyes great and now a college football Hall of Famer. And don't forget about his 13 years of NFL experience playing for the Eagles, Dolphins, Jets, and the New England Patriots. He's Dayton's own Keith Byers. Hang out with him every Monday at noon on The Keith Byers Show, presented by Lee's Famous Recipe Chicken. Whether you're at home, at work, or in your car, tune in to ESPN 1410 Wing AM or stream us live at wingam.com.
Over under, Kev Nash coming up here, top of the hour, 8 minutes from now. So Keith Tolliver on Facebook, Kev says, again, the injuries are, he says that the injuries are an excuse, plain and simple. How making an open shot or breaking news, play a little D. I know that NBA defense is bad, but to let one player outscore your team in the first is pathetic in a win-or-go-home situation. Pathetic performance, and the fact Kinner is calling them quitters, but in a nice way, is so surprising. I've ripped. I mean, look, the Lakers just sucked. Bottom line, the Lakers sucked, but at the same time, like, it's not that hard to figure out. They're not the same team with Anthony Davis, but it's like the whole team did quit. The whole team did quit. I mean, there's nothing else. I mean, the second that the team that has when you play with LeBron and AD, even the role players put their chest out a little more. You're a little bit more confident. Lakers fans become more chirpy because the product on the floor is great. When AD went out, when LeBron's not 100%, with that ankle the way it is, he's not playing the way he normally plays. No AD out on the floor. All your role players just disappear at that point because, by the way, they're not playing the same way that they normally do. The players aren't getting the same shots that they normally get. They're playing out of position. All BS excuses, because the one thing he is right on effort, it's the playoffs. LeBron shouldn't have to go up to every one of them individuals. Hey, you want to play hard tonight? Want to play hard tonight? It's the playout. No, you don't want to play hard? Okay. Well, maybe next game. No. Like, these are grown men. They're grown adults. They've never had to been told to play hard their entire career because that's just, you don't become a pro if you don't have that in you. So I don't know. That's why I asked the other day. I was like, I felt like there's still something going on behind the scenes. But again, I have attacked the Lakers. That's why I've said, what else do you want LeBron to do? LeBron cannot win 5-on-1, especially at 37 years old. This isn't the LeBron of early on when he took a team with Boobie Gibson and Anderson Varejao to the NBA Finals. Like, that's the thing. And then, when he did that then, because the East was crap. And now he did it before with the Cavs. He took bad players to the playoffs. The same people that called the East crap, which it was. Well, the same people that called the East crap back when he did that with Boobie Gibson and company. It's just like people move the goalposts constantly when it comes to LeBron James. Just stop. Like, LeBron James, was that one of his best performances? No. LeBron James is not built to lead a team by himself anymore. He's just not. Plain and simple.
So let me ask you this. So 3 of the teams that were in the conference finals last season, which was played in the bubble, the Celtics, the Heat, Lakers, and Denver, who actually won their series, 3 of those teams are all gone from the playoffs already. Do you still think the short turnaround didn't have an effect on his season?
I will admit I was wrong on that. I remember coming into the season saying, hey, LeBron, shut up. Like, yeah, the playoffs started in end of July? So the season stopped in March 11th, and then they picked up at the end of July is when the playoffs started. Or was that baseball?
No, that was baseball.
July started. The playoffs started in August, September, finals in October. Okay, so they were March 11th was the last game of the NBA season last year when COVID. When everything came crashing down. They picked up again in August, September, finals in October. But again, there was a 4-month off period, which again, there's no such thing as an off period. These guys, they work 365 days a year, taking care of their bodies, making sure they're in shape, yada, yada. But there was a 4-month period where they were not playing. Did that go a long way in Anthony Davis staying healthy for that 2-month playoff run that led to the Lakers championship? Absolutely it did. However, though, when they pick up, so they started in August, but they technically started their training camps in the bubble in July. So that's July, August, September, October. You're off for a month, and then you're back to working out and reporting back to camp again for the season that started in December. So now you get a month and a half off, and you go July, August, September, October, November off, and then you got December, January, February, March, April, May, June. They just played basically 11 straight months. 11 straight months. A team with their best players, 37 years old. Anthony Davis, still very young, but has always been injury prone. Now, I think that impacted those teams a ton, but at the same time, I do think some teams were built for the bubble and some weren't. I think the younger teams needed the crowd to kind of give them that energy to where the veteran players were like, well, this is just basketball. This is just basketball. So no, I think that definitely had a huge impact on how those teams kind of navigated.
Yeah, I've always thought like it had an effect on.
I did it at first. I remember I was like, oh, stop. You had 4 months off. You played for 3 and then another off season. But no, that clearly played. I mean, that's why. And by the way, I do get to your point in a second. I got to get to Ann Anderson. Ann Anderson made a great point on here. I got to find her. There she is. She says, LeBron did not look as explosive as he usually does, especially in the playoffs. His ankle was obviously bothering him. And as much as he wanted to make a game of it, he knew that just was not possible. Too much basketball saw over the last 2 years with very little time to recover. I'm convinced that is why there are so many injuries this year. So yes, that was about LeBron, but she ends, Ann Anderson, shout out to her on Facebook. She says she's convinced that's why not just LeBron and AD's injuries, but look at across the board, every team. The NBA is tough to watch right now because it's like every team has some star, not just a player, one of the players out, and it's very difficult. Guy. And it reminds me of the NFL. Remember a few years ago in the NFL, I think like 16 starting quarterbacks in the NFL all went down. Like everyone's starting quarterback was out. It was weird. That's what this offseason reminds me, or this postseason reminds me of for the NBA. But your point about
it's just I thought that like it's just such a quick turnaround, and I'm not bashing on the league. I mean, they had to do something. They had to get the games back played. They're trying to get their calendar back on track, and the only way to do that is, hey man, we got to start in December and push through this regular season, crown a champion. You have your summer off, we start training camp, and then we get our full 82 games back on track because there's a lot of money on the line. Not only a lot of money for obviously the league and the owners, but the players as well. So if y'all want to get these checks, you're going to have to go play. And that's ultimately what ended up happening. I think the turnaround was just too fast for a lot of teams. We're seeing a lot of soft tissue injuries, with he's not the only one dealing with like a pull groin or hamstring. It's a lot of those type of issues. It's like has to do with conditioning and everything like that. And then, you throw in the middle of a pandemic, and then you have that to deal with and everything else. And there's also, I've seen the study that the way young people play a sport, when I grew up, we played whatever sport was in season. It was basketball season, play basketball. Football, we play football. Baseball, we attempted to play baseball. We played different sports. So our different muscles were in use as opposed to the same muscles constantly being used over and over and over and over again. So these type of injuries that these guys are having, experiencing, everything like that, like when dudes are blowing out their left knee, well, you're blowing out your left knee because you've been playing basketball since you were 5 years old, jumping off that knee. You shouldn't be blowing out your knee at 25. That's something that shouldn't be happening. You shouldn't be blowing out your Achilles like KD did at 30. That's something that happens to people that are like 38, like Kobe. You know what I'm saying? So the constant wear and tear that happens with these athletes, I think the study was just saying hey man, you shouldn't be locked in on one sport until a little bit later in life, until your body continues to grow, it continues to develop and everything like that. I'll try to find it and I'll send it to you. It's a pretty good read.
All right, Justin Kinner, Kev Nash with you here on 1410 ESPN Radio. Matthew Hedrick on YouTube, Kev says 3 out of 4 teams that made the finals last year aren't even in the playoffs right now. Who was in the Western Conference Finals against the Lakers last year? So the Nuggets, and there you go.
Joker.
So that's going to be key right there. It's going to be interesting to see who now kind of gets. It's the first time in 10 years, by the way, that there's no Steph Curry or no LeBron in the finals.
Crazy.
Those two dominated this past decade. Absolutely insane. And I just realized how fast this last decade actually kind of flew by. You were using those LeBron Heat examples, and I'm like, Kev, that was 8 years ago, man. I was like, that's a lot. Those Heat days were back in my college days, which was a long time ago, it seems. But he's been around.
Glory years.
All right, we'll have Kev Nash bring us our over-under on the other side as we head into hour number 2. ESPN, they put out a list of the top 10 worst off seasons in the NFL. I have a little secret for you. One of the pro teams in Ohio made the list for one of the top 10 worst off seasons in football. I don't write these. I just enjoy sharing them. We'll get to all that in hour number 2 coming up. Plus, we'll open up the phone lines at 457-9464. We'll be back in a moment.
It's the Justin Kinner Show with Kev Nash.
Justin, you're awesome, baby.
Right here on 1410 ESPN Radio. WYNG 1410 Dayton, Dayton's ESPN Radio.
Goodyear knows the importance of keeping momentum as you head down the stretch. Momentum starts with movement. It's pulled from the air like a contested rebound. Momentum builds with steals and fast breaks, and is proven by deep threes as the shot clock expires. Momentum is how we change the game. And now it's time to discover where it can take us. Goodyear, more driven.
It's so on. The Sirius XM Listen Free event is happening now. Just press the SAT button in your car to hear over 100 channels, including ad-free music of every kind, plus sports play-by-play and talk and news for everyone. Enjoy even more free when you download the SXM app. Hear expertly curated podcasts, ad-free extra channels of music for any mood, Sirius XM video, and the ability to create your own Pandora music stations. Don't miss out. Listen free now.
It's time for some straight talk. You've got real work to do, but everyone's sucking up the free Wi-Fi faster than a Mocha Choco double frap on ice. So be your own hotspot. Now with Straight Talk Wireless, get 10 gigs of hotspot data with the ultimate unlimited plan. Just $55 a month on America's largest and most dependable networks. You don't have to find a hotspot. You are the hotspot. Straight Talk Wireless. No contract, no compromise.
Compatible device required. See straighttalk.com.
Mattress Firm's best Memorial Day sale ever has been extended for a limited time. Shop and save up to $500 on top-rated brands like Sealy and Sleepy's.
It's live, it's local, it's the Justin Kinner Show with Kev Nash, presented by Kirkland & Summers.
All right, hour two. Justin Kinner, Kev Nash back with you here on 1410 ESPN Radio. Wright State baseball in the NCAA tournament, the NCAA championships. They have Tennessee tonight. They're in the Knoxville Regional. Wright State a 4 seed, Tennessee a 1 seed. Wright State has the best college baseball team in Ohio, no doubt about it. Not just this season, but year in and year out, it seems at this point. So I'm excited. There's a huge opportunity for them to try to get out of this regional, and they have a very good shot of doing so. Tennessee, very good team. Wright State took 2 of 3 from Tennessee last year. In fact, that was one of the final remaining series that they played in before the season came to a halt due to COVID. Last year, there was a lot of expectations for them. They were filled with a bunch of future pro prospects. A lot of those pro prospects decided to come back. Yesterday, I couldn't remember. So we had Sogard on yesterday, the head coach for the Raiders, Alex Sogard. And he said, so there were 74 rounds of the draft in baseball.
Wild.
And he said last year they only did 4. So that's why so many players, for one, they had the extra year of eligibility, a chance to return to work on some things. But that's why so many came back because, in baseball, to their defense, you couldn't have a full rounded draft like that because there was nowhere to send these guys. Remember, there were no minor leagues. Everyone had those little camps that they sent everyone to last year. There just wasn't enough places to send them. So it kind of worked out well for everybody. Now, with that being said, I'm pretty pumped. They have Tennessee at 6 o'clock tonight, and we'll hear from Alex Sogard around the corner just to kind of give more insight onto what they do. Plus, local teams. Quincy Hamilton, a local kid, won Player of the Year in the conference. Also, first team All-American as well. So good for him. It's
cool. A dub tonight.
They get some national kids, but it's cool because some of their best players are here from here locally. That's what's badass is these great players from around here. They could easily go play at Ohio State or bigger programs, and they're choosing to stay here because why go elsewhere to pursue what you can get right here in your own backyard? And that's the top team in the state. So there you go.
Absolutely.
All right, little NBA over under NBA playoff edition. Kev Nash brings you over under.
Kev Nash brings you over under.
All right, lead us off, Kev.
All right, number one. The Clippers are facing elimination tonight versus the Mavericks. Whew, Kawhi Leonard, all eyes on you, buddy. Over or under, 1 game left for the Clippers in their season.
Someone said to scoot to your left a little bit. There we go. They want to see your face. I don't know why, but they want to see your face. So we're going to reread the question just so we're on the same
page. Not a problem. The Clippers are facing elimination tonight in their series versus the Mavericks, Game 6. Over or under, 1 game left for the Clippers in their season.
And it would help if I actually had the over-under right in front of me, like the right one. Over-under one more time.
One more game.
It's Friday.
The Clippers are facing elimination tonight versus the Mavericks in Game 6 of their first-round matchup. Over or under, 1 game left in the Clippers season.
Oh, man, look, one LA team has to represent, right? But look, the Clippers, we're starting to see that it wasn't Doc Rivers. We're starting to see that Kawhi Leonard, his quirky personality that everyone just wanted to give a pass to because he won a championship with the Raptors. By the way, I do believe Kawhi not staying in Toronto he had to go chase the money. He knew his stock would never be higher because I think he even believed that he wasn't the player that everyone thought he was. Maybe that's a little mean of me. I'm going to say under. I think that the Clippers lose tonight. Dallas is advancing to the next round of the playoffs. Well, it comes down to the rest of the Clippers, just like the Lakers, aren't doing their part, and it's up to the star players. And just like the Lakers, their star players weren't. I mean, you had AD who wasn't available, LeBron not 100%, and you go as your best player goes. And Kawhi's not being the leader. He's a very quirky individual. Paul George, everyone said he's a perfect number 2. I'm not even sure how good of a number 2 he is. He's above a number 3, but he's not a lock at number 2. He's a very quirky talent as well. The Clippers lose tonight. Dallas advances. And then the Clippers become a very interesting franchise moving forward as far as what they're going to do with all those pieces. So I think
very scary situation going on with the Clippers. I'm going to say they win tonight because the only more Clipper thing to do than to lose tonight is to win tonight and then lose at home on Sunday. So I'm going to say the Clippers win game 6, force a game 7 in their own building. And another crazy thing about this series, no home team has won a game yet. Crazy.
So it hasn't started. That's what they say. The playoffs don't start. A playoff series doesn't start until the road team gets a win. So the Clippers might be the first team to ever lose a series before it even starts.
Yikes. Scary hours, man. Number 2, Anthony Davis obviously has an injury history, the big man for the Los Angeles Lakers. So next season, the NBA is going back to their full 82-game schedule. Over or under 70 games played for AD next season?
Well, without even considering what happened this year to be a part of this answer, it's way under. He has never played more than 65 games in the season throughout his entire NBA career to begin with. So with that being said, that's an easy one, Kev. It's way under, and I think that they're going to be handling him with kids' gloves. But the problem that's going on now is with the load management. The teams that are trying to balance keeping your player on the floor long enough to keep his legs loose and to keep him in shape and to keep the continuity going between him and his teammates. Finding the right balance between that and not overdoing it to taking injury-prone players and putting them in position to get injured. I don't think there is a right answer to that. I think the Lakers are going to try it. They're in trouble. They have to go get LeBron a number 2 that's going to be reliable, whether it's Kyle Lowry or whoever. They have to go get a number 2 that AD has to be the third option. He is the best second option in the league when healthy, but because of his injury and he's not being, he's not reliable, I think that he's just too much of a risk. I think that they have to go get a Kyle Lowry. They have to go get somebody that can take on some of the scoring load when AD is out or when he's on the floor. I mean, I think Kyle Lowry makes a lot of sense. It's definitely way under. He's just, you cannot count on him. Him getting defensive and getting all that, I get it. You don't like people talking bad about you, but this just, no one said he's a bad player. They just said you can't. Street clothes is not a shot at your playing ability. It's your availability. That's what that's a shot at. Way under. That's an easy one.
I'm going to go under as well. Just the injury history has just always been there. He's just always banged up. And I'm starting to get to a point where, the size of these guys, you ever notice, like, he's never healthy. Porzingis is never healthy. Embiid is never healthy. Like, the size of these guys and the things that they're asked to do or the way they're playing now,
what I was gonna say.
Playing like guards.
Shaq would have been, his career would have ended way sooner if in today's basketball.
Yeah.
Still be dominant, but he'd be injured way more because having Shaq just kind of he never jogged, just he never had to sprint because the game wasn't played like that unless they were playing the Suns or the Nets or somebody.
Right. So I just think like the movement of their bodies, and they're so big, like it's causing their bodies to break down much faster because of the way that they play the game now at that size. So I'm going to go under on AD playing 70 games next season as well.
But keep in mind too, and someone pointed out in here that the Lakers just looked horrible defensively. The reason they were the best team defensively is because of him. Because he can close out on a shooter. He could put out a high hand from under the free throw line and be guarding someone at the top of the 3-point line. That's just how long and lengthy and good defensively he is. But Shaq wasn't asked to guard anyone out on the perimeter. The old post players, Tim Duncan and Shaq, two very good defensive. A lot of that was stand there, be big, use your arm length to contest shots, block shots, get in the way. Don't let guards couldn't drive to the lane back then for one because the rules were a little bit they were more tight defense or tight with the fouls.
Tight.
But you had Shaq standing there. Well, now everyone can shoot the three. Shaq would be pulled out more to the perimeter. That's another reason shots have gone up, points have gone up. Yes, it's because of the 3-point shot, but also the floor's spread out. You have more easy looks at the at the bucket. So I just think that these guys are moving more, not just sprinting up and down the floor more, but Shaq got to stand around a little bit more. Tim Duncan got to stand around a little bit. David Robertson, those guys, they got to stand around. Those guys aren't standing around in today's NBA. They'd still be great, but I don't think they would be great as long because I think their body would wear down. That's what's going on. But to be fair, that's been happening to AD since he was at Kentucky.
Yeah. All right, my favorite topic of the day. Number 3, the Portland Trailblazers lost their first-round series to the Denver Nuggets last night, making it their 4th first-round exit in the last 5 years. Over or under one more season for my guy, Dame Lillard, with the Portland Trailblazers.
So you said over under one more season?
Yes, sir.
I think he plays one more season. I think
pushing.
So I'm pushing on this because I think he put out a parting shot I think he put out a warning shot to his team. I think he, you know how they have in Batman, they have the bat signal up there. Spider-Man has his spider senses are tingling. Well, my Kenner senses are tingling, and I see the Dame light. The Dame light is being put out, and it looks like a G, and it looks like the Green Bay Packers symbol. Oh, that's what it is. He's putting out the Aaron Rodgers threat right now, letting people know, hey, I think his patience is running out. I take my shots here and there, but the bottom line, I can't deny the damn talent. I just don't want him to have that Reggie Miller stubbornness of, I ain't going to go chase rings. I ain't going to go I don't hold it against players for chasing rings, because if you don't chase rings and you play in a market like that, you're not going to win a ring. And he's too damn good of a talent. There's not a lot of guys in the league like him. There's a lot of guys who can score. He could score, but it's just, he does it at a different level. It just looks different. He looks all-time great, style when he's out on the floor. Don't be stubborn and stick around and just hope that you can win a title along the way, because that ain't cool. That's a disrespect to his legacy if that's the case. He's going to have to chase one or put the pressure on the front office to go get somebody. And it won't be through free agency. It's going to have to be through a trade. However, they have to figure that out. I don't know all the dynamics behind the scenes. But that was a warning yesterday. He put out that little line from Nipsey Hussle yesterday. And, of course, that was a parting shot. That's him letting everyone know my patience is running thin. It's going to be a push. It's going to be one more season. And it's really, we're going to know this by the end of the offseason, not even by the end of next season. It's going to be what do they do this offseason, not what they do next season. It's going to be what they do this offseason, because if they don't go get him help, he's gone after next season. And it's going to be the Aaron Rodgers situation. And the Portland Trailblazers will have no one to blame but themselves, because he's saying, I want to be loyal. I want to be here, but I need you to stop, because I will not hold it against him. If he bails after next year, I'm not going to do the whole, well, what happened? You said you were never going to leave. No, that's on the Portland Trailblazers at that point. Go get him somebody. Go get him a true number 2. Go get him somebody, because that talent, they have a habit of waste. I mean, Bill Walton, look at all the talent that damn organization has wasted. Going back, not only wasted, but they've always had some bad, luck when it comes to that. Getting Greg Oden, that never worked out. Roy, another guy, injuries kind of depleted him. Nothing's depleting this dude except your roster management at this point. They got to figure it out. So I'm going to say push one more year.
It's very scary hours for the Portland Trailblazers. I'll say a couple things. One of the first things I saw on social media this morning was Dame's post on his IG page, quote Nipsey Hussle, and the first thing that ran through my mind was like, oh, so now we're about to have a whole bunch of guys on Sports Talk dissecting Nipsey Hussle lyrics on Sports Talk.
And by the way, every one of them said it like they knew who the hell he was. The only host that I believe knew who it was the coolest cat in the world, Skip Bayless. I mean, he said it with his chest. He knew exactly. I mean, he Googled it right before the show. He knew exactly who the hell it was.
R.I.P. to Nipsey. The marathon continues. But the thing about it is, it's something that we kind of can allude to with the Baltimore Ravens, with them going out and getting Des Bryant when they needed help. Granted, I am a huge Carmelo Anthony fan for obvious reasons. I'm a Syracuse basketball fanatic. He helped us win the national championship. I'm a big Melo guy. But in their time of need, they went and got Melo. And to Melo's credit, the season that he started, he averaged 18 points. This season, coming off the bench, he averaged 14 points. He did his part. But when your go-to move is to go get a Hall of Fame player that isn't in the league, that's your go-to move. It helped you guys out. It helped you get to the playoffs. Melo was good all season. He played his role, but it's the others around him. So for me, I got my list of potential spots Dame is going to land, but I'm going to go with the under. I don't see Dame making it past the trade deadline of next season with Portland. I see him out of there. And one thing I do know for sure.
I didn't think about that. I just was looking at this. That's a good point. But he's going to be with Portland next year. Yeah. It's just a matter of whether it'll be the full season or not, but he continue. But yeah, that's a good point.
One thing I do know for 1,000%, Coach gone. He gone. He's about to paint. He's going to be gone. Now, Dame, that's debatable, but the coach is going to be gone. There's no way that you can be there 9 years as a head coach along with a player like Dame Lillard and only make one Western Conference Finals. And the crazy thing about it is he signed his extension 2 years ago. It goes into effect this year, but the extension it starts this upcoming season, but it's not like a super big max extension like the one that Curry's going to get. That's like $250 million and everything like that. Is actually a reasonable contract for a player like Dame Lillard. So when he eventually does get traded, it's not even going to be like, oh my goodness, they had to give up this, and that, and a player. They're really only going to have to give up a player and a pick. So it's going to be a bargain for what you're going to be getting for Dame Lillard. So Portland is really doing themselves no justice.
All right, so I'm going to NBA.com. Man, they don't have the jerseys yet. The Obi Toppin Portland Trailblazer jerseys yet.
I'm moving on. I am moving on.
No, he's being traded to the Knicks, baby. And that is not a shot at Obi Toppin. Remember I said yesterday we did the over-under one more season, or over-under one season or one or more seasons with the Knicks for Obi Toppin. I said, look, Obi's actually had a very good rookie year considering the limited minutes he got. I just feel like the Knicks, them winning is they're ahead of schedule development-wise. Mm-hmm. They have their guy now, their star, because they didn't come into the season with the star. They thought they were just going to be a team of misfits. They're just a team with a bunch of really good role players, but they ended up finding out. Now he didn't really break out in the playoffs, but Julius Randle's their guy. He's not their true number one, but he's a perfect number two. And you put Julius Randle with him, now all of a sudden the Knicks are like, oh, we got something here. We thought we were a couple years out, but we're actually a lot closer than we thought. I think that, you have Quickly, who's one hell of a player, but I think he stays in New York. I think that he's untouchable, but I do think Obi could be a part of a trade package to Portland to get Dame if it does come to that. So
they got a lot of picks. They got a lot of,
and we all know how good Obi looks in red. So I'm just saying.
Number 4, the series between the Bucks and the Nips.
The Nips. Oh, Freudian, that's a true Freudian slip right there.
The series between the Bucks and the Nets tips off Saturday night at 7:30. Over or under this series going 6 games, and also who's going to win the series?
Kevin said Nips, just so we're clear. I've distracted. Kevin's Nips are distracting me.
You're a child.
I am, and it's Friday, and you said Nips on the air, so that's on you. You're the child. Have I ever said Nips on the air until you did? No. All right.
Answer my question.
Kev Nash brings you over under, presented by Nips. Repeat it, because in all seriousness, when you said Nips, I wasn't listening to words you said after. I'm like, this idiot just said Nips on the air.
Oh, God.
Anything else inappropriate you want to say?
Oh, I'll get there.
Other inappropriate words that rhyme with Nips.
Oh, goodness. The series between the Bucks and the Nets tips off on Saturday at 7:30 p.m. Over or under this series going 6 games, and also give me a winner.
I can't figure this series out. The Bucks have been the silent assassin all season long. In fact,
laying in the weeds.
Antetokounmpo not winning an MVP. Oh, by the way, did you see the cool commercial? It's the Fast and Furious commercial. It has wrong flyer. It has Kostas Antetokounmpo in it.
Okay.
With Giannis. It's actually really cool. And of course it's forced to me because I don't think many people know outside of here who Kostas is, but Kostas Antetokounmpo has his Laker gear on and he's putting his fist towards the camera and he has the ring on and everything. It was really cool. It threw me off guard because I was like, it was a Fast and Furious commercial. I had, Vin Diesel on The Rock, and then all of a sudden there's Kostas Antetokounmpo and Giannis in there. But outside of that, it's been a very quiet year for Giannis, but his numbers are better than the last 2 years when he won the MVP the last 2 years. And that's a big, and I also didn't realize the Bucks average, they're the, when you think of the number one offensive team in the NBA, everyone just assumes it's the Nets. They're the most explosive, but the Bucks are the number one scoring team in basketball. And you're led by a 2-time MVP. And actually, they lost some key pieces last year, but they actually found the perfect fitted pieces. There are better players left, better pieces came in as far as fit goes. I want to roll with the Bucks here. It's very difficult for me to pick against the Kevin Durant, James Harden, and Kyrie Irving. But man, this Bucks team, they've just been a silent assassin all year. They've been winning, a ton of games. They've been averaging 120 points a game. Giannis is better than what he was the last 2 years, winning the MVP. Man, it's going to be tough to pick against the Bucks. This might be their year to get to the finals, and that's going to be it's very. I mean, everyone has a chance this year. Usually, we know who's going to win it. Mm-hmm. As talented as the Nets roster is, I can't say they're going to win it because, as we saw with the Lakers, you're only as good as your role players. Everyone says you're only as good as your stars. The Nets are going to prove which theory is more correct. You're only as good as your stars, or you're only as good as your role players. The Nets will tell you which theory is more correct. We'll find that out. You said 6?
Yeah.
Let me reread it again to make sure I read this correctly. So you're saying over under this series. Oh, it just doesn't matter the winner. Man, I'm going to say 6 because I think that. No, I'm going to go over 7. It's going to take 7 full games, but I think that the Bucks can get it done.
Man, RIP to the Bucks because we agree. We agree. I believe it's going 7, and I firmly believe that the Bucks are going to win this series. I really do, and it's not because Kyrie and KD and Harden teamed up. I truly think the Bucks are going to win. I think this is their chance to win. And even to say they don't win, whoever wins this series is going to win the NBA championship. I think these are the 2 best teams left in the NBA. I really think that the Bucks are going to win this series.
Even when the Sixers are healthy?
Yes, I think that
this is the real Eastern Conference Finals.
I think that the tweaks that the Bucks have made offensively, obviously them picking up Drew Holiday was huge. But for me, the Chris Middleton being the closer guy as opposed to Giannis being the closer takes them up another level. Chris Middleton can just hit jump shots consistently. So when you put him and Giannis in a pick and roll, you're done for. You're done for because if you go under the screen, Chris Middleton is going to hit a 15-footer. And if you go over, Giannis rolls to the rim and dunks it. And when Giannis is in I'm dunking everything mode, like all-star game style, there ain't really too much anybody can do. I'm going with the Bucks in 7 in this series.
Going to be interesting one way or another. And last but not least.
Ooh, yeah. The one everybody's been waiting for.
We always do 4 NBA ones and we always branch off on the last one, but I'm curious. I like this one.
This is good, man. This is good. So, an 8-round exhibition match between Floyd Money Mayweather versus Logan Paul. I always get them confused. I don't know who is who. But anyway, Logan Paul goes down on Sunday night. Over or under 6 rounds for this fight?
Over. And it will be dictated by Logan Paul. And here's why. If Logan Paul goes out there and tries to just start swinging haymakers left and right, it'll be done. It'll be done quickly. Won't be in his favor. It'll be done quickly. We all know Floyd Money Mayweather. The build to his fights are always a million times more entertaining than the actual fights themselves. Facts. He is not going to exert a lot of energy in this match. He is going to kind of hide back in the corner. He's going to, he's going to be moving around a lot. He's not going to be the aggressor. He's going to be very methodical in this. Yes, it's an exhibition fight. Exhibition gives this a bad connotation. Like, these guys take it serious. When they step in the ring, these guys are looking to win. This isn't we're going to be smiling and, just kind of fist bumping and having some. No, both of these guys, Logan Paul, if he wins this.
Yes.
You think these dudes are cocky? By the way, I actually, after hearing their interviews, I like them a lot more than I did before this.
They're playing the game.
They're very respectable. They're not cocky. They're not as cocky and arrogant as what a lot of people label them as. I'm kind of a fan of them now. Like, they didn't rub me the wrong way in the build to this, but I have heard stories about who they are really in real life. But that's besides the point. I think it goes over because I just think that Floyd's not going to come out and try to knock this dude out. He's capable of knocking this dude out, but I don't think he's going to come out and be the aggressor. He's going to be very methodical. He's going to move around the ring. He's not looking to get hit and get hurt. So I don't think he's going to be the aggressor. I think he's going to be trying to spend the entire fight trying to not get hit, just let his presence be felt out in the ring. And as long as Logan Paul is smart and doesn't go out there and try to exert too much energy in the first couple rounds, because sometimes inexperienced fighters, you go out, your adrenaline's going, and you're just trying to swing and trying to end it early. And if he tries to end it early, it's going to end early, but it won't be in his favor. I'm going to say over. I have no clue who the hell's going to win this, though. I can't pick against Floyd Money Mayweather, but at the same time, I don't know. This is strange. I have no clue. This would be
so
weird.
Strange. This is so strange for so many reasons. Floyd is making $10 million guaranteed. Logan Paul is making $250,000 guaranteed. But if Logan Paul actually knocks out Mayweather, you think about the checks he's going to be able to cash after that, the money that's on the line. I truly think that Logan Paul is coming out here to try to win.
Why is Floyd even doing this fight? I'm glad he is. Don't get me wrong, but like
it's easy money. He made like, but when he went overseas and did an exhibition with a kickbox champion for $5 million. Like they offered it to him like on a Monday. He flew out there on a Saturday. Came back $5 million richer.
But do you realize, like, he has outside of the money he's getting? By the way, the money's his, win or lose.
Right.
Like the result of this match doesn't matter.
Right.
But losing this match,
yes.
Like it doesn't matter. Like we know it's an exhibition fight.
Yeah.
They know it is. But you don't think that that'll always be on his record moving forward? Maybe not official record, but we won't forget. Oh, you lost to Logan Paul,
a YouTuber.
And by the way, yes, he is. He's an influencer, but like we say it with a he's a YouTuber. Like you lost to a YouTuber, but like this dude's jacked.
He's like 6'3".
He's a big dude, but you lost to a YouTuber. Like we won't talk about how big Logan Paul actually is.
Yeah, because I mean, if you really break it down, like the fact of the matter is, if this was a real fight, they're in two totally different weight classes. Floyd Mayweather weighs about 160 pounds.
Mm-hmm.
This dude weighs like 180. Like, that's crazy. I truly think that Logan Paul is going to come out and try to win the fight. Mayweather is obviously one of the smartest boxers to ever lace him up. I think he's going to knock him out because he knows, like, look, man, this dude is going to try to come out and win. And when he throws one of those wild haymakers, I'm going to catch him. So if he throw it early in the first round, I catch him. Oh, well. If he throw it in the fifth round, oh, well. Like Floyd, like he knows this. Like his whole brand is, man, I'm undefeated. I'm Floyd Money Mayweather. Like this is his everything. So he has a lot to lose, and his ego has a lot to lose. I got Floyd knocking him out by the fifth round.
One thing I don't want to see is a draw, and that was the Mike Tyson fight that ended in a draw,
Right.
which I thought was ridiculous. Like, if you're going to have these, try to beef them up as much as you can. Like, don't waste our time with the draw. Stop with the draw stuff. Like, that stuff's getting old. Like,
you know that Chad is on there as well. Ocho.
Mhm.
I don't know
who's
the
he
heck
fighting. He was
I have
supposed to
no
fight the
idea.
other brother, but he was supposed to fight Pac-Man Jones.
Really?
Yeah, that was the card. And then one of the two backed out. I think it was Pac-Man who didn't want to fight Chad. I got to look that up. But no, that was supposed to be, that would have been huge.
Oh, that would have been crazy numbers. The question is, man, are you going to buy the fight?
If my one buddy always buys these types of things, like my favorite is actually, I can't remember what they're called, the barstool fights. What are the barstool fights called? They just pick these hill jacks that come out of the stands. They have no business being in the ring, and then it's the funniest thing. It would be like just you being at a bar drunk as hell and getting into a boxing ring at the end of the night just to fight somebody. That's basically what the hell are the barstool fights called? It's driving me nuts. But my one buddy, he always orders these types of fights, like and I always go over, throw some cash, and watch with everyone else. But it is going to be. Look, Chad Kinster says it's an exhibition. It won't affect yes. But the thing is, I don't care about the record,
Court
Chad.
of public opinion,
This is
man.
the court. Yeah, it's perception. And I'm sorry, but even if his record remains 50-0, getting knocked out or losing to Logan Paul, a YouTuber, that will not. By the way, there's a lot of people who mock Floyd Money Mayweather anyways for his approach to fights, picking and everyone gets to pick and choose who they fight, but he picks his opponents very selective. Like he waited. He didn't, everyone's and he knows. And by the way, he knows the importance of public perception because that's why he waited so long to put Pacquiao on. Because 20 years from now, we're not going to remember that Pacquiao was old and it wasn't the old Pacquiao, or it wasn't the old Pacquiao. It's just going to be, who's the biggest name that he beat during that? Oh yeah, Pacquiao. Like. That's how it is. It's like your point about the NBA earlier. We're not going to remember that injuries led to the Raptors winning that series. We're just going to look back in 20 years and say, oh yeah, I forgot the Raptors won that title, back in the, late 2010s or whatever. Like that's how that's always going to be. But Chad backed out, I guess, of that one, which frankly, Pac-Man Jones is a psycho. All right, folks. I mean, I don't know. Pac-Man Jones, he's as dangerous as Jim Boeheim behind a car. Behind the steering wheel. I'm just saying, what? I screwed it up. My timing wasn't great. I had that in the chamber all day today, by the way. I was waiting for the right time to drop it, and behind the car. That doesn't even make sense. Why would he be behind the car?
Hold your brakes.
Yeah, hold you. We'll be back in a moment. More of the Justin Kinner Show with Kev Nash when we come back.
Listen, stream, watch. It's the Justin Kinner Show with Kev Nash right here on Dayton's ESPN Radio, 1410 Wing AM. ESPN 1410 Wing AM weather.
This afternoon will be partly cloudy, a high near 85. Tonight's going to be mainly clear, a low near 61. And tomorrow will be mainly clear, a high near 86. I'm Pete Spivak for 1410 ESPN Radio.
Weather is brought to you by Cullet Propane. Find out why 98% of their customers would recommend them to friends and family. Find out more at culletpropane.com.
For the ones standing guard. For the eagle-eyed. For the knights in shining armor. And for all those who support them. We are Grainger, your experienced safety partner, offering supplies and solutions for every industry, committed to helping keep your facilities safe and your people safer. Call clickgrainger.com/safety or just stop by. Grainger, for the ones who get it done.
Clay's Cleaning Service has a spotless reputation.
Take care of the windows. Hello, this is Clay.
But his business operations could use a light dusting.
I had you scheduled for next week. I'll just check here. No, absolutely. We will be there tomorrow.
Indeed can help him hire the people he needs.
I need Indeed.
Indeed you do. When you sponsor a job, you immediately get your short list of quality candidates whose resumes on Indeed match your job criteria. Visit Indeed.com/credit and get $75 towards your first sponsored job. Terms and conditions apply.
Hi, this is John McManus, Chief Deputy to Montgomery County Clerk of Courts Mike Foley. Because of a recent change in Ohio law, you can now have your documents notarized online. Clerk Mike Foley is pleased to offer you this service today. If you would like to request an online notarization, please visit courthouse2u.com and click on Online Notary to make an appointment. You can now enjoy our same great customer service from the comfort of your home. Visit courthouse2u.com today.
Hello, it's John Kozik, founder and president of TurboTrack Realty, and I buy houses as is, fast for cash. Call me today for an all-cash offer on any of your properties, and we can close within days at 614-362-2000, 362-2000. Do you own a property that's outdated and needs thousands of dollars in repairs? Great, I'll buy it. I'm a private real estate investor who can solve your real estate problems fast for cash. Do you want to sell and just be done with it? Okay, great. I buy vacant properties, boarded up houses, pre-foreclosures, and inherited properties. I also buy apartment buildings, rental portfolios, divorce homes. I even buy my tenant won't pay me the rent houses. I look forward to solving your real estate problems today. Give me a call for an all-cash offer at 614-362-2000, 614-362-2000.
Hi, Pete Kasugi here to tell you that if you're looking for the very best selection of your favorite garden plants, we grow over 125 varieties of tomatoes, peppers, cabbage, broccoli, cucumber, okra, cantaloupe, and eggplants. And if you haven't tried our famous Neighbor Beater tomato plants, come out and pick up a few and enjoy the best taste you ever had from your garden. They taste so good, you'll wish you planted more. And remember, Neighbor Beater garden plants are sold only at our garden center at 1309 Brand Pike. So get out that shovel and start digging. It's time for gardens, bedding plants, rose bushes, vines, and ground covers, shade trees and shrubs, bird baths and fountains, and so much more. So join the green revolution and come out and see us at 1309 Brand Pike.
Whether it's next day delivery or getting involved in their local communities, Napa goes above and beyond to serve you because their motor never quits. That's Napa know-how.
Hey everybody, it's Stephen A. Smith, and everyone knows my feelings on Cowboys fans. But really, Justin Kenner, you're a Cowboys fan and a Browns fan? Good Lord have mercy. I don't know what the hell to do with y'all. I really don't.
It's the Justin Kenner Show with Kev Nash. Weekdays from 3 to 6 p.m. on 1410 ESPN Radio. All sports, all the time. This is 1410 ESPN Radio.
Rough and Rowdy, there we go, is the name of those Barstool fights, by the way.
Okay.
Love the Barstool fights. Speaking of Barstool, you see that Johnny Manziel?
Oh, goodness.
Dude, he unleashed.
Blabbing.
He had a couple choice words. The last time I heard that much inappropriate talk on an interview was when you said nips earlier. That was unreal. Justin Kinner, Kev Nash with you here on 1410 ESPN Radio. So, you know, I'm really sick of hearing about Aaron Rodgers. I really am. Like, I mean, I know.
What about Julio Jones?
I know it's June. Oh yeah, they have kind of transitioned to that. I mean, but they've combined the two. Now it's Julio Jones and Aaron Rodgers as a package deal. But nonetheless, so we do have some NFL talk for you. And you know, it's been a while. Someone said, "Hey, you've been not nice about the Bengals lately." I said, "No, I need to fix that." I did not mean to. I felt bad. I feel like I've been letting the Bengals haters down out there. You know, we're a tight-knit group. I tell you that much. So what's interesting is ESPN put out this list of the teams who had the worst off seasons. The 10 teams who had the worst off seasons. The team that had the worst off season, according to Bill Barneswell with ESPN, the Las Vegas Raiders had the worst NFL offseason of anybody, and this includes the draft and free agency combined. In this article, which I'll post to my Facebook page here in a moment, head to Facebook and search The Justin Kinner Show, where you can watch us live, jump in on the conversation in the chat section, and then, of course, interact with some of the articles we post throughout the day. So within this list, Kev, they have, you know, what went right, what went wrong, what could they have done differently, what is left to do.
Mm-hmm.
So the second team, the team that had the second worst offseason in the NFL, the Green Bay Packers, for obvious reasons. I find that to be interesting. The next team up on the list, the Pittsburgh Steelers. Found this one a little interesting, too. I think that you have to understand, like, I think the fact that they got Juju back right there, the fact that they got Juju Smith and they got Najee Harris, this team really didn't. I don't know how they're on this list of 10 worst offseason teams because I actually think, all things considered, considering how strapped the Steelers were, Kev,
right?
I actually think they made out pretty good.
I agree.
Big Ben restructured his contract, which gave them more flexibility.
Did you hear? It was his idea?
It was his idea. You know, I found that funny. By the way, it has to be any player that takes less money. That is your idea. I mean, yeah. Anyways. But the Steelers, to be on this list, the NFL, again, it's an ESPN list, the top 10 worst off seasons. The Steelers are on this. They had the third worst off season, according to Bill Barneswell of ESPN. You got to understand the Steelers, they were financially strapped heading in. And I think that you can't put everyone on an equal playing field when it comes to, off-season decision-making, because every situation is different. Every team financially is set up different. Every team's quarterback situation is different. And the Steelers were financially strapped. There was no way they were going to be able to keep Juju and keep Big Ben's, money the way it was and be able to, well, they got Juju Smith-Schuster back. Big Ben restructured his contract. They were able to draft Najee Harris early on. According to this list, they talk about what went wrong. They were forced to eat their financial vegetables, he says, and watch Bud Dupree and Mike Hilton leave in free agency. Where did Bud Dupree end up?
Titans.
With the Titans, Mike Hilton, of course, with the Bengals. With the organization moving on from Steven Nelson, cornerback has gone from being one of the team's biggest strengths to one of Pittsburgh's thinnest positions. So again, more problems were created in the offseason, but the last year's regular season problems were addressed in the offseason. So now they'll have new problems heading in. I just think Pittsburgh still, even with being banged up at corner, they're still good enough defensively to be solid defensively. I don't think they're going to be as great as what they've been in years past. That can be something to look out for. The offensive line, they say, is also a mess, with the Steelers losing Marquise Pouncey to retirement, and both Matt Filer and Alejandro Villanueva, whatever his name is, to free agency. They did bring back B.J. Finney, which I think the Bengals had, if I'm not mistaken.
The Bengals got him in the trade from the Seattle for
Carlos Dunlap. So there we go. But, adding Najee Harris, I think, is a win. All things considered, I'm not saying the Steelers had a great offseason, but to sit there and say they had the third worst offseason, I think that's a mess. I thought that they did what they could. I thought that they made a lot of good moves with being financially strapped. And, Big Ben, kudos to him for being willing to restructure that. But, I mean, again,
it was his idea.
It was his idea. And did you hear that Aaron Rodgers might not be coming back to the Packers?
That is definitely his idea.
And the rumor has it that Julio Jones might be traded. There's a rumor out there that there was a phone call where he said, "Get me out of here." I don't know if that's true or not. Next up on this list, the Houston Texans. Obviously, look, this is just, they're making What went wrong? Deshaun Watson reportedly
Shouldn't that be number one?
is going with the sexual assault by 22. First of all, here's why I'm not going to hold the Texans accountable for that. That shouldn't be on the. That's a Deshaun Watson thing that he's caught up in. That's unfortunate. I'm not going to blame a team.
Plays for though.
But like, I guess if you're saying, okay, it's an unfortunate part of their offseason, then fine. But like, they're making bullet points of ownership issues. That shouldn't be one of them. Like, this is a Deshaun mess. This isn't a Texans mess. They're having to clean up this mess.
Right.
But they were too busy making a mess over here while he was making a mess over there. Now they're having to clean up both messes, and it's a problem. So I have no problem with this. Like, I don't like the hire that they made at head coach. I thought that what was a very simple decision of going out and getting Bieniemy from the Chiefs. I have no clue how this turned out to be such a disaster. There was ways for damage control, and I think that that's what's unfortunate. We're watching Green Bay right now. There are things they can do to make this better very quickly, going out and getting Julio Jones. If they choose not to, looking back, we're going to say all you had to do was do that. But pride is such a big deal when it comes to the people who run these organizations. It's almost as if the ownership of the Texans said, we are purposely not going to get Bieniemy because that's who he wants, and we're mad at him because he's making us look bad. And I feel like the Packers are kind of doing the same thing right now with Aaron Rodgers. We're not going to trade him and give him what he wants, even if we would be getting something beneficial in return, because we're not trying to put him in a position to succeed and be happy moving forward. It's a pride and an ego thing, and it's not always the players. I always go after the players' ego, but man, it's the ego of the ownership more times than not that really deteriorates a run in the NFL. That's for sure. And all at pro sports.
Yeah, man. Like we talked about before, if Green Bay actually makes that trade for Julio Jones, Aaron Rodgers is showing up the next day. He's going to be like, oh, I got Devontae Adams and Julio Jones. Let's play ball. And to the Texans' point, yes, this is 100% like whatever Deshaun is going through and all these allegations and everything like that. Technically, they didn't do that mess, but he's the player on their team. And there's even if he wasn't disgruntled and saying he didn't want to play for them, he might not be playing for them anyway because of this mess that he's gotten himself into. So that's just a debacle times 10.
All right. Next up on this list. Again, if you're just tuning in, it's the Justin Kinner Show with Kev Nash, presented by Orion Sports Medicine. The Atlanta Falcons come in on this list right here. I think that they messed up. Like, by the way, everyone's ripping this organization for not taking a quarterback in the draft, for not going that direction. And the thing is, Matt Ryan, for one, you're financially responsible to a guy for the next couple of years. That's not a good contract that no other team's going to take on. But secondly, Matt Ryan is not a bad quarterback. Is he a great quarterback? No. But he's not a bad quarterback. He's not an average quarterback. He's a really, really good quarterback. Like, they are not. The thing is, if you have 2 to 3 years left of the NFL at playing the quarterback position at a decent to high level, why would the Falcons force the rebuild now when you have, Calvin Ridley? Yes, technically you have Julio Jones right now, but you're trying to turn that into some assets to get back. And then you go and you get Kyle Pitts. This team's actually set up to win some football games if they could fix some of the defensive holes. I don't blame Atlanta at all. Everyone's so quick to hit the reset button. The Jets were so quick to move on from Sam Darnold instead of just saying, hey, we screwed you up. It's our responsibility to fix you. No, they would rather just hit the reset button. I give the Falcons credit for not hitting the reset button and saying, hey, let's go out and get the best weapon available in the draft right now in Kyle Pitts. We have to move on from Julio Jones, but if you have Kyle Pitts and now you have Calvin Ridley and you have a solid offensive line, fix the defense. If it improves even slightly, you have a chance to win 8 to 9 games and be in the playoff hunt when it's all said and done. I like that the Falcons decided not to panic and take a quarterback in a quarterback-rich draft, because right now they're still in very good shape, because no matter who they would have taken, their quarterback right now is still better than any quarterback they could have taken in this year's draft for at least the next year or two.
True. I can't disagree.
All right, next up on this list, continue to go down. You got the Rams up next, which, of course, when you move on from your quarterback, I'm actually hold up, time out. They put the Rams on this list. They upgraded a quarterback.
I mean, let them tell it they did. That's what every talking head on ESPN
That surprised me they put him there. Wait, you don't like their
I just don't think that he's that much of an upgrade over Jared Goff. And I can be proven wrong. And, Pam, shouts out to Pam. I'm sure she's a little Rams fan now that Stafford's there. But I just don't think that he's that big of an upgrade over Stafford's a bigger upgrade over than Goff. Maybe he's like a notch better than him, but like really viewed him basically as the same level of player. But like I said, I can be proven wrong. And everybody and their mom is like super hype about that, like saying that, all right, now Sean McVay has a competent quarterback. So now they're going to go to the Super Bowl with that defense that they have. So I don't even know why they would even be on the list.
Yeah, I mean, especially when you have Goff and you have Stafford, not a lot of great things happen when you have Goff and Stafford. So I'm just saying, if you're in that situation right there, I look, the Rams, they didn't have the fourth worst offseason. I personally think they upgraded at quarterback. I think they definitely upgraded at quarterback. I think if you want to hold, they did lose two of their top defensive backs, and the Browns, and I'm appreciative of that. Maybe that's why I'm appreciative of what the Rams have done this offseason. The Panthers are up next at number 26. Number 26. They're next up at 6th, and then just keep the Lions are on this list. Keep scrolling down. Oh, there they are.
Dun, 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 dun.
The Cleveland Browns had a great offseason, so they're clearly not a loser, and they're not on this list. But the Cincinnati Bengals are on this list. If you're just tuning in, the Cincinnati Bengals are number 8 on the list of the top 10 worst off seasons, according to ESPN and Brian Barneswell. And I found this absolutely fascinating. He goes on to talk about what went right. So I'm going to read this to you. This is what went right for the Cincinnati Bengals. Give a little music in the background. It's a little dry. It's a Friday. Let's have a little pick me up. If I'm going to insult the Bengals fans, I might as well give them a little something to feel good about, like the music in the background. So this ESPN list that Kinner did not write, but Kinner endorses, the Cincinnati Bengals are number 8 on the list of the teams who had the worst offseason. He does highlight what went right. The Bengals added key pieces for Joe Burrow by signing former Vikings tackle Riley Reif, and then drafting his former LSU teammate Jamar Chase. Some NFL draft analysts felt like the Bengals should have opted for Oregon tackle Penei Sewell. No. Now, what went wrong for the Cincinnati Bengals? After years of mostly avoiding free agency, Kev, the Bengals, they kind of waded into the free agent waters once again. Unfortunately, though, for the second straight year, their biggest signing doesn't look like a good value. The decision to move on from Carl Lawson for Trey Hendrickson seems curious, given that Hendrickson has only one significant season with the Saints. Even the 2020 campaign has red flags attached, suggesting that Hendrickson won't be able to keep up his newfound sack totals in Cincinnati. I didn't write this. All of these things are what I have been saying for months and months and months, that you did not improve defensively. You just took one of the few good defensive players you already had and replaced him with another. You didn't add. Had you had Carl Lawson and him, now you're cooking. You just replaced Carl Lawson with him, and there's a lot of numbers to show that they don't expect him to have the same type of season he had with the Saints last season. He goes on to say that you could also argue that the Bengals didn't do enough for Burrow up front. No. Reif is a solid pass protector on the right side, but it's still unclear whether Jonah Williams will actually end up as a franchise left tackle. They did re-sign Quentin Spain after the former Bills lineman joined the team in November, but the only other notable addition to the organization was second-round pick Jackson Carman, who Mel Kiper had as his 13th ranked tackle. The Bengals clearly stretched for this pick and left a lot of people scratching their heads. The Bengals are expected to move Carman to guard, but they don't have a spectacular recent track record at developing linemen at their college positions, let alone new ones. I love this guy, and I love this list. It's literally point for point everything I've been saying for months, that everyone said, Kinner, you're full of crap for thinking that way. But yet, it's not clearly just not me thinking this. It's clearly people with brains that think this. Shout out to them. If you want to argue otherwise, I don't know what to tell you. Your team's just didn't have as good an offseason as what you think. Here's what they could have done differently, according to Brian Barneswell, Kev. Choosing Hendrickson over Lawson and Chase over Sewell are the two decisions that the Bengals will end up being judged for across the next few years. I like that take. That's the take right there that's going to determine whether Kinner was right or Kinner was wrong. And I will live and die by what happens over the next 2 years when it comes to this. Because if Hendrickson goes on to have more great years and is better than Lawson, then I'll chalk that up to Kinner being wrong. And this isn't a matter of whether Jamar Chase will be better than Penei Sewell, because you can't compare the two. Mm-hmm. It's really going to come down to Penei Sewell. If he becomes an all-pro offensive lineman and, that line for the Lions improves quicker than the line for the Bengals, then all of a sudden, now there's a mess brewing. Now there's a mess. I mean, this is all going to be figured out the next couple of years. Here's what I do know. Jamar Chase will be one of the best wide receivers in football. No doubt. I have no doubt about it. Okay? No doubt about it. But that doesn't mean that you get a pass for not taking the best offensive lineman available and that being your number one need. You know what I mean?
Right.
Like Bengals fans are going to keep coming at me every time Jamar Chase has a 100-yard catch game, every time he has a 2 to 3, every time he has a game with 2 to 3 touchdowns. I'm going to get being blown up on social media, and then I'm just going to simply respond with the sack totals. I'm just going to respond back with how many times Joe Burrow's been hit, and it's as simple as that. I never once said Jamar Chase wouldn't be a baller, Kev. I just said that that's a baller you don't need at this exact time.
So the thing about Sewell is this. He's playing tackle. He can do his job. He can ball out because he's not dependent on anybody else. You know, the receivers dependent on the quarterback and the offensive line, running backs and other receivers running the correct routes to get open and everything like that. Offensive tackle, he can maul his dude all day long. Hence, Joe Thomas. Joe Thomas was on a team that went 0-16. But guess what? Joe Thomas went to the Pro Bowl every single year of his career, and he's going to go to the Hall of Fame. He was on one of the worst teams ever, but he, as an individual, did his job. And that's how it's going to be graded because, you know, people are going to go to say, boy, the Lions suck too. No, don't talk about the team's record. Talk about the individual's play. So he's already got an upper hand on Chase because he don't have to worry about nobody but the guy.
You're right. He's
not dependent on anybody.
He doesn't play a dependent position, and he gets to play the position that he played in college in the pros, and he's not going to be moved around a whole hell of a lot. So that's going to be the other upper hand that the Lions have and all that. And again, you bring Riley Reif in, but they're not willing to move. You know, when it came to, you know, you have Jonah Williams right there, and you're going to be moving guys out of position. And that's what I thought about the Jackson Carman thing. And I thought that Bill Barnesville made a great point. They haven't had a good track record at developing college athletes at their own position, much less coaching them up to play a different position. So, yeah, I love this list. But I miss the Bengals talk, man.
Maybe that's why he wasn't smiling when he got drafted.
Who?
Jackson Carman.
I mean, he should be smiling. He got drafted way higher than he should have.
But he knows that the Bengals have trouble developing him.
Oh, that's true. No one's thinking about the first contract. They're always thinking about the second contract that they're not going to get now. And now what's left to do? So Bill Barnesville said, what's left to do? Extend Jesse Bates, who took over Justin Simmons' spot as the most underrated safety in football. With a Jamal Adams extension likely to reset the safety market somewhat north of $18 million per season, the Bengals would be better served to get a Bates extension. That's a good point because the Bengals will not make him the highest paid player at that position. So
he's top 3 safety in the league, man. Call for that money, man.
No, he's number 8, actually. He's number 8. John Johnson, baby, he's number 3, according to the Bible. I mean, Pro Football Focus. So.
Oh, now you like Pro Football Focus.
Greatest invention ever. Those guys are smart. They're on their game. They finally get it. You know, they finally got it. No, I mean, hey, I'm just playing the game the way the Bengals fans do. Aye. All right, it's the Justin Kinner Show with Kev Nash on 1410 ESPN Radio. All right, we'll step away for a few moments. Hour 3 coming up around the corner. Don't go anywhere. Again, we'll talk a little. We'll have, of course, a conversation that we had yesterday with Alex Sogard, Wright State baseball coach, and we'll pick up with this. A lot of Facebook reaction, social media reaction coming in regarding our conversation. Again, this is an ESPN list. I'm going to put it on my Facebook page. Head to Facebook, search the Justin Kinner Show, watch us, hang out with us. But it's the list of the worst off seasons in football, and the Bengals come in at number 8. What's that, Nips?
No,
your new nickname is Nips. You know that,
thanks,
right?
Thanks.
Nipsey.
Just some of those comments that I was reading from the LeBron post. I don't know if you want to post that.
I can't. But then again, you've been saying Nips on the air. So if you could say that on the air, I could.
I said it once. You said it like 13 times.
Because that's the green light I needed. Hour 3 next.
It's the Justin Kinner Show with Kev Nash on 1410 ESPN Radio.
This is a metaphor for your business's journey. Sometimes it feels like you're going 100 miles an hour, barely keeping up. But to cruise through challenges, you need someone who's right there with you. That's what Dell Technologies advisors do. They have the tech advice you need to get past whatever's in front of you and get to where you want to go. For advice on solutions like XPS 13 laptops powered by Intel Evo platform, call an advisor today at 877-ASK-DELL.
My doctor told me my cholesterol is borderline, so I took control with Garlic Healthy Cholesterol Formula. Garlic helps maintain healthy cholesterol safely and naturally. It's odor and taste-free, and Garlic is a world leader in garlic potency. I'm taking charge of my cholesterol with Garlic Healthy Cholesterol Formula, cholesterol's natural enemy.
These statements have not been evaluated by the FDA. This product is not intended to diagnose, treat, cure, or prevent any disease. The term natural references only the garlic in the product. Use as directed.
Reds fans, check out the Root the Reds Home exhibit, presented by Dinsmore at the Reds Hall of Fame and Museum. This exhibit features over 200 historic pennants and banners from the Reds championship seasons from 1919 all the way up to 1990. Plus, thanks to the Sargent Family Foundation, active military and veterans receive free admission. Visit redsmuseum.org for more information.
At Napa, when it comes to serving you, our motor never quits. And when it comes to getting you the part you need when you need it, with next day delivery or same day pickup, our motor never quits. And when it comes to making a difference in our local communities by hosting fundraisers and food drives, our motor never quits. And when it comes to telling you our motor never quits, yep, you guessed it. Our motor never quits. That's Napa know-how. Same day pickup and next day delivery available at participating stores and on in-stock items only.
Wendy's Frosty Chino is cold brew with frosty creamer. What does that mean? It means we took rich, smooth cold brew and then added your choice of vanilla or chocolate frosty creamer. Can you say good morning? Or better yet, Wendy's Frosty Chino? It's cold brew with frosty creamer. It's only at Wendy's and it's delicious. So ditch the stuffy coffee shop and say hasta la vista, barista. Choose wisely. Choose Wendy's Frosty Chino and start your morning right.
At participating U.S. Wendy's.
Credit Karma Money is a brand new checking account where you can win cash reimbursements for making purchases. When you use your Credit Karma Money debit card, you can win daily instant Karma purchase reimbursements on items up to $5,000. Right now, visit creditkarma.com/winmoney. That's creditkarma.com/winmoney. Instant Karma is sponsored by Credit Karma. No purchase necessary. Exclusions and terms apply. See rules. Banking services provided by MVB Bank Inc. Member FDIC. Maximum balance and transfer limits apply.
I need tech that can make me as productive in my home office as I am at my office.
It's possible with Staples Connect.
How about tech that lets me work hands-free and wireless?
Also possible. Staples Connect has the innovative tech you need to work and learn from home. And now, Apple AirPods are just $129, and AirPods Pro are only $199. Explore what's new at your local Staples store or at staplesconnect.com. Staples Connect, the working and learning store. N65, limit 2, in-store only.
It's time for some straight talk. You've got real work to do, but everyone's sucking up the free Wi-Fi faster than a Mocha Choco double frap on ice. So be your own hotspot. Now with Straight Talk Wireless, get 10 gigs of hotspot data with the ultimate unlimited plan. Just $55 a month on America's largest and most dependable networks. You don't have to find a hotspot. You are the hotspot. Straight Talk Wireless. No contract, no compromise.
Compatible device required. See straighttalk.com.
You think buckling up is a personal choice? That it doesn't hurt anyone else? You would be wrong. Your choice could shatter the lives of your family, friends, and everyone you know. That's why we enforce seatbelt laws, to save lives. Think about that every time you drive. Buckling up isn't just a good idea, it's a choice between surviving a crash or not. Make sure you and everyone in the vehicle buckles up every time. Click it or ticket. Paid for by the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration.
Spring is here, the grass is starting to grow, and you need to mow now with 0% for 42 months retail financing on new Hustler zero-turn mowers. That's right. Qualified buyers can enjoy 0% for 42 months on qualifying Hustler zero-turn mowers. Come in to Small Engine Service Pros today and get that Hustler Turf zero-turn lawnmower you've been dreaming of. Qualified buyers with minimum purchase. Other restrictions apply. See dealer for complete details. Visit Small Engine Service Pros, 2030 North Dayton Lakeview Road, Route 235 in New Carlisle.
I can't take this anymore.
I have nowhere to go. Lost my job.
I feel alone.
Crisis Text Line is here to help day or night. Text 4HOPE to 741-741 for free and confidential support. Text with a trained volunteer to move from that hot moment to a cool calm.
WING 1410 Dayton. Dayton's ESPN Radio.
Cordell Transportation is now hiring Class A CDL drivers. $5,000 sign-on bonus. That's right, $5,000 sign-on bonus. Home daily dedicated lanes, no-touch freight. Apply today at CordellTransportation.com. Cordell Transportation, driven to succeed.
If you need new roofing, siding, or gutters, skylights, or patio enclosures, if you're a homeowner or business and need someone you can trust, don't take a chance. Enhance with Lance. Lance Roofing and Siding in Fairborn has been satisfied satisfying customers since 1993 and hold an A+ rating with the Better Business Bureau. Lance Roofing and Siding, 8460 Dayton Springfield Road in Fairborn. Call for a free estimate at 864-2722. That's 864-2722 or online at lanceroofing.com.
Mattress Firm's best Memorial Day sale ever has been extended for a limited time. Shop and save up to $500 on top-rated brands like Sealy and Sleepy's.
3 doors down. The Better Life 20th Anniversary Tour. Saturday, July 17th. Rose Music Center at the Heights. Very special guest, Seether. For the first time ever, The Better Life played in its entirety, plus all the hits. Tickets on sale now at Ticketmaster.com and Rose Music Center box office. 3 doors down with Seether.
You have empty office space to fill or home office to create. You know what you need. You know what you'd like. But you also have a pretty good idea after you've shopped around the usual places what you need and what you like might not happen. Well, then you haven't been to Charles Larrick's Warehouse Outlet. Nobody has their selection. Nobody has their discounts. And every week there's something new. If you need office furniture, Larrick's Warehouse Outlet can sell it to you for half the price and below manufacturer's selected prices. Half price and below on hundreds of items. Selection from budget to the best. Really, desks from $50 to $5,000. Filing cabinets from $25 to $500. Before you go anywhere else, do yourself a favor and come to Larrick's Warehouse Outlet. With 25,000 square feet of selection, you're not going to go anywhere else. Larrick's Warehouse Outlet at 23 McOil Avenue, Dayton. Open Monday through Friday, 9 to 6. Larrick's, continuing the tradition.
Because it's my vision, I take the most studied eye vitamin brand.
Because it's my vision, I take the eye vitamin brand backed by 20 years of research.
Because it's my vision, I take PreserVision.
Age-related macular degeneration is the leading cause of vision loss in adults over 60. That's why the National Eye Institute did 20 years of clinical studies on the formula that's found in PreserVision. From the eye experts at Bausch & Lomb, PreserVision AREDS 2 formula eye vitamins contain the exact nutrient formula recommended by the National Eye Institute to help reduce the risk of moderate to advanced AMD progression.
Because it's my vision, I made a plan with my doctor that includes PreserVision. Find PreserVision in the vitamin aisle and look for savings on PreserVision AREDS 2 in your local paper. Available at Walmart.
These statements have not been evaluated by the Food and Drug Administration. This product is not intended to diagnose, treat, cure, or prevent any disease.
Mattress Firm's best Memorial Day sale ever has been extended for a limited time. Shop and save up to $500 on top-rated brands like Sealy and Sleepy's.
It's live, it's local, it's the Justin Kinner Show with Kev Nash, presented by Kirkland and Summers.
Justin Kinner, Kev Nash, back with you here on 1410 ESPN Radio. The NFL put out a list of the worst off seasons in the National Football League, and I think if you took the pulse of many Bengals fans, they feel pretty confident that they had a pretty good off season. I think this is harsh. I don't think the Bengals, to be fair here, I did highlight the fact that the Bengals were added to this list of the worst off seasons in football. Let me be clear. I was very critical of their draft selections and the way that the direction that they have to. I do not believe their offseason is as bad as what is being depicted on here. However, they do highlight a lot of points that I made. I don't think that their offseason was bad. I just don't think that they improved as much as they think. That's all. I think both can be true. I don't honestly, Kev, I don't think that the Bengals had a bad offseason. I think they improved at a few positions. You add a talent like Jamar Chase. You cannot deny that that is one hell of an addition. Okay. So with all that being said, I think that the Bengals front office, they don't know what the hell they're doing. I think they made a lot of mistakes, but I do think that they added some key pieces that are going to be a part of the Bengals' success if they can get it all figured out down the road. I don't think they had one of the 10 worst off seasons in football, but I don't think they had a top 10 off season in football either. I think they're in the middle of the pack. They should be right there in the middle. I think that they added some good pieces. I think that they ignored some of their bigger needs. And keep in mind, people, drafting an offensive lineman doesn't mean you addressed your needs, because when you draft an offensive lineman matters. Where you draft him, who it is, what the grades on them have been. The Bengals do not deserve the benefit of the doubt with Jackson Carman, because they have proven nothing in the past to deserve the benefit of the doubt that, oh man, they found a diamond in the rough in Jackson Carman. Like, you know what I mean? Like, this isn't a front office that is known for making great draft selections. So with that being said, why should I trust that the chance you took on Jackson Carman, who was graded as the 13th best offensive lineman in this draft, and there was, of those 13, there was 8 guys ranked higher than him on the list of offensive linemen, and they took him. That's I can't fathom. I just don't get it, don't understand. But no, to be fair to Bengals fans, to make sure that I'm making some friends here, I do not agree with this list that they had one of the 10 worst off seasons in football. I definitely don't think they had a top 10 off season in football, but they're not one of the worst as far as that goes. How about this? Some other names on this list, Kev. The Minnesota Vikings come in there. They lost, edge rusher, still an enormous question mark. You have Daniel Hunter, who missed all of 2020 with that neck injury. Adam Thielen, they signed to a bargain extension and then gave their star wideout a new contract with 2 years to go. Hunter might have to wait until 22 to get the raise that they're talking about when it comes to Daniel, who missed all of last season. Look, the Vikings have issues, and it's really at quarterback, as crazy as that sounds. Very, very good quarterback with the ceiling that isn't going to elevate that team. There's so much that has to go perfect for them. I've said before, as much as I love Baker Mayfield, I still think that he has a lot of Kirk Cousins in him. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, there's
turnovers. Are you scared of turnovers?
Now, Baker fixed that last year. Now, if he goes to another season of limited turnovers, if he could be in that 8 to 12 turnover range, I'm cool. Like, that means Baker's figured that part of his game out. The coaches managed him right. But if Baker all of a sudden goes up in turnovers, like, I do think that Cousins is kind of his in-game comp right now, as far as that goes. So it'll be interesting. But the Vikings, I mean, I don't know. I didn't sit there and follow their draft that well. The Eagles definitely are on this list as well. Again, I keep thinking about the draft. This is a full offseason.
Right.
They got moved on from Carson Wentz. How confident are you that Carson Wentz figures it out?
I'm very confident. This is the guy that he's with Frank Wright again, the guy that was calling the offensive plays along with Peterson when he had his MVP caliber season, which got him the big contract and everything. He played his best under him. You're putting all your marbles in a situation where, all right, man, we're going to get you right again. We're going to tool everything right. We're going to call the right plays for you. We're going to put you in a winning environment. It's a guy that he gets along with personally, and I think that they're going to be outstanding this year.
Now, here's one that I found interesting on this list of the worst offseason. The Arizona Cardinals. How did they have a bad offseason? They added J.J. Watt.
They added A.J. Green.
I don't think they had a bad offseason.
Maybe it's they're looking at, all right, yeah, these guys are names as opposed to productive players.
Yeah, let's be clear. So I thought that the Browns were in that win now mode. If a win now team adds a J.J. Watt, I get it. If a win now team adds an A.J. Green, I get it. But the Cardinals aren't there yet. The Cardinals are still that 7 to 8 to 9 win team, which 9 is a good win. 9 win season's good, Kev. But they're not a Super Bowl contender. They're not on the brink of that. So adding old aged veteran players is strange to me. I don't think that they're close to something. I think they're going to be good. They make them better, but I don't think they make them anything. If the Browns would have got J.J. Watt, that would have made sense to me. The Browns are a Super Bowl contender. If the Bills would have got Watt, that made sense to me because they're a Super Bowl contender. Had the Packers got him, there's a lot of reasons why that would have made sense. They're Super Bowl contender. But the Cardinals getting him didn't make sense. A.J. Green, outside of his relationship with some of the receivers, that didn't make a whole hell of a lot of sense either, as far as that goes. So I just don't get why this team, I like what the Browns did. They went that, all young players. When they were putting the weapons around Baker, it was all young talent. They weren't going out and getting old veteran players to put around him. So that's why I don't like the direction the Cardinals. I could see why maybe they're being critical of that. I do like the Rondale Moore addition. I think that could be huge. I think that's a great addition more so. I think it's a better addition than A.J. Green. A.J. Green was not good with the Bengals last year.
I'm not even sure that A.J. Green makes the roster.
He was that bad. He was not good. It was not good.
You got to look at, they just spent the draft pick on Rondale Moore. They already got Christian Kirk there at another wide receiver position. And how could I forget? DeAndre Hopkins is also there. So those are, 3 wide receivers right there. And we're still kind of in limbo about what Larry Fitzgerald is going to do. Is he going to come back for another season, everything like that? So that's 5 receivers right there. So normally when you're that 5th wide receiver, you play special teams. You're like a gunner on punt coverage and everything like that. And at this stage of A.J. Green's career, he don't need to be doing that.
They added Zaven Collins, Malcolm Butler. So, I'm very surprised they're on this. I don't think not a great offseason, right? But those are good. Malcolm Butler, J.J. Watt.
I want to see who they say had a good offseason there.
And that's the list. They said that list comes out on Monday as far as the, who won the offseason and all that type of stuff. So even the Dallas Cowboys had a bad offseason, according to this. That I'm very confused on. You got your quarterback, you got your defensive guy, you got the best defensive player in the draft, and that was your number one need was defense.
They spent their first 6 picks on defense to fix that defense, and you signed your quarterback for the future, and he's already practicing. So not like a win to me.
When in the little blog here, in the little brief blog description, it says what went wrong. Dallas went back to the well at linebacker as it declined the 5th-year option for Van Der Esch, which of course has been injury prone. That's one reason why they're not willing to financially invest.
Right.
He's
got
glimpses.
a neck injury.
Yeah, he's shown glimpses of greatness, but you're not going to invest into that. They used the first-round pick on Micah Parsons. That's a win. I have no clue why that's in a what went wrong thing. There's a chance that both Van Der Esch and Jalen Smith are off the roster in 22, but after adding Parsons and coveting Keanu Neal to linebacker, the Cowboys have invested too much over the last few years of that position. This guy's being very nitpicky as far as I'm concerned.
And they got Jabril Cox out of LSU at linebacker who can play linebacker and strong safety, and they drafted a DB. I'm not with that. I think Dallas Cowboys are going to be scary good this year.
So this is where it ties in with him being critical. Most teams see linebacker as a position to fill in last. So when you're prioritizing upgrading your defense, pass rush up front,
right?
Make sure your secondary is good. You got some good athletes back there, and then you fill in linebacker. They worked backwards. They're loaded up their linebackers, but there's still a lot of question marks up front, and they're not confident in their secondary any long term. So that's where. But again, that's strange. They took the best. That would be like, so you wanted them to pass up on Micah Parsons to take a corner or someone else, which again, it would have been a need, but that was the best defensive player available. To me, that made a lot of sense to do that. And by the way, the reason I don't criticize the Cowboys as much in a draft is because I'm confident that if the Cowboys don't fill their holes in the draft, they're a team that'll spend money in free agency to fill some holes.
Jerry, go buy it.
That's why the Bengals draft I was very critical of, because it was like, that's your only option at fixing anything. Like, if you're going to fix it, the Bengals proved they were not going to fix the offensive line in free agency. And don't give me the Riley Reef thing. You signed him to 1 year. You still don't have a long-term plan of protecting Joe Burrow. So that's what I'm laughing at. Okay, you got him for 1 year. Great. Now what? You still have a bunch of projects on that offensive line. Jackson Carman, so what? You got him. You took a chance on him. I'm not confident in his ability. I'm not confident in anyone on that offensive line to protect Joe Burrow long term. So that's where him being critical in here is coming from, is there's no long-term solution as far as that goes. So next up on the list, the Titans and the Bears. I thought that the Bears, I really would not have been surprised to see the Bears on here until they traded up to get Justin Fields. So what went wrong? The rest of the offseason wasn't inspiring. They franchised Allen Robinson, and then the wide receiver market cratered. He chose to sign his tag, locking the cap-strapped Bears into nearly $18 million on their 22 cap. The resulting squeeze forced them to cut cornerback Kyle Fuller, which that was a big deal, of course, and that led them to release, Charles Leno, the tackle that they let go. Unless second-rounder Tevin Jenkins is an instant superstar on the blind side, Fields will play behind one of the worst lines in football this season.
Ouch.
I didn't realize that they got that weak up front. Did you?
I didn't either. I know we got, I know the Steelers got one of their starters at guard, signed him as a free agent. So they're losing the starter. I don't know how good he is. You can look at those PFF stats all day, but that don't mean nothing to me. I don't know what those stats mean half the time. So I'll just go look at performance. And I got to be honest, only watched probably one Chicago Bears game last season.
There'll be many more. Jess Couch, shout out to Jess Couch on YouTube. She goes, I agree with the Packers, though, being on the list. Of course, the Packers have had a horrible offseason as far as that goes. They really didn't do anything. They added a defensive piece in the first round. Shocker. That's what they always do. And there's just really, the Packers this is an offseason to forget. Even if Aaron Rodgers comes back, it's an offseason to forget because it's just been one soap opera storyline after another.
If he comes back, is it that bad? Like, if he comes back and he just, I want to be here, I love Green Bay, shows up, Is it a bad offseason? Does that change everything?
I think it damages him more than the Packers, because the Packers will go on. I mean, they'll go on to win games. He'll win games. I just this whole thing is strange to me. Just Couch continues on YouTube, says Dallas redid their whole defense. We had the best offseason coordinator. 2 players. I'm sorry. You have to resend that, Jess. I don't understand what you're trying to say on that last one as far as that goes. But, man, that's a good question. So if Aaron Rodgers comes back, is the Packers offseason still considered a disaster? I think it's a disaster just because it's just anytime. I mean, you don't want to have conflict with players because it's not a good look long term if players want to come to Green Bay, which doesn't happen often. Like, you don't want to be known as the front office that just constantly plays hardball. But I think a lot of people have realized that this is an Aaron Rodgers thing. I'm just, ESPN keeps airing that same soundbite of, about, wanting to come to an organization that has a great, what do they always call it? Not structure, but a great culture and all that. And I'm like, what are you talking? There's been no reports of a bad culture at Green Bay. There's been no issue. The only guy that seems to have a problem with anything around there is the quarterback. But and I've said this before, I'm tired of that. This is why I brought up the Dame Lillard thing the other day when I compared the two, because I feel like those are the only two that they get all the praise when the team is playing well. And then when the team struggles, it's not because of the stars. It's because everyone around them isn't good. Well, Dame Lillard, they get to the playoffs, Kev, and they fight for a higher seed in the playoffs, and it's because, man, they're a really good team. And then when they lose, it's, well, man, Portland better give them some weapons. They better give them some. If the weapons are good enough to win you 50 games in the regular season, that's pretty good. How come you're not good enough to win in the playoffs? That's weird to me. The Packers, you're good enough to get to the NFC title game 3 of the last 5 years. It's good enough to allow you to win an MVP. It's good enough to have one of the best offensive lines in football. You have the number 1 wide receiver in football. You have one of the best defenses in football. You have one of the best young coaches in football. But the culture's bad, but the front office is bad, but you have bad teammates. I'm tired of hearing Stephen A. Smith say that. I'm tired of hearing all the media do that. Stop. Does Dame Lillard need a little more help in Portland? I agree 1,000,000%. Does Aaron Rodgers need one more weapon in Green Bay? Yeah, when you're going up against Tom Brady's super team Buccaneers. But if Tom Brady doesn't go to the Bucs, the Packers are head and shoulders better than everyone. I mean, can you imagine if Tom Brady didn't go to the Bucs last year, Kev? No one's as close to being as good as the Green Bay Packers.
Right.
And that's the team that knocked them out of the playoffs to begin with, out of the NFC title game. I'm not pro Aaron Rodgers on this at all. Not because I'm usually anti-player, but because if they hurt his feelings by not communicating with him, fine. Stop saying the culture's bad there. Your little bubble is bothered because they didn't treat you like a superstar, but their culture's not bad. They draft well. They provide you weapons. You win a lot of freaking football games.
Do you do it? Do you pull the trigger and go get Julio? Do you give up 2 first-round pick, a first-rounder and a third-rounder for Julio? Do you do it to say, you know what?
I think you have to.
Even if he says, nah, I still ain't coming back. You look at Jordan Love, you be like, look, man, we got you Julio Jones and Devontae Adams. Go win some games. I would do it. I would do it.
It shouldn't take him threatening to leave to get them to do that. That's a no-brainer. But
I would do it because, like you were talking about with the Browns, if you add a piece like that to the team, like we were talking about before with communication, and if he goes off the deep end and is upset, you can at least say, hey, man, we tried everything in our power to let him know and make him aware. You win court of public opinion. But if the Green Bay Packers go ahead and give Atlanta a first and a third round for Julio, everybody's going to be looking at Aaron Rodgers like, hey, man, look, dude, you might have to suck up your pride and show back up because they got you Julio Jones. Oh, you wanted a receiver in the first round, a rookie receiver? How about we get you a dude that's probably going to Canton? And also the other receiver that you got a great rapport with Devontae Adams. He's going to show up. He's going to shut up and show up and ball out. More importantly, he's going to ball out and y'all going to win a lot of games and potentially win a Super Bowl. And then after you win a Super Bowl, guess what? You can cut bait with both of them because guess what? You can cut Julio after that season. You can cut Aaron Rodgers after that season, or you can sign them both and run it back.
Yeah, and again, I didn't know we have a sensitive Packers fan on here. Cassius Clay, cool name.
Hey,
he says the defense was never the best. Laughed my ass off. I never said they had the best defense. I said they have a good defense, one of the top defenses. I never said they had the best defense.
They caused 3 turnovers on Tom Brady.
Yeah, I was gonna say, and
in the second half.
I mean, and then he goes, a real Packers fan has hated the D for the past few seasons.
They've been bad.
Good for you.
They've been bad against the run, but that secondary has been solid. And outside of that blown coverage at the end of the first half when they hit, Scotty Miller down the sideline, they played good football. They caused the turnovers that the offense needed. The offense just didn't get it done,
Yeah, and let's be clear. Like, I don't... Stop making excuses, Cassius Clay. Stop making excuses.
That sounds so weird for you saying that.
Yeah. Mama said knock you out. Keep in mind, the organization is not a bad organization. Aaron Rodgers, you don't win an MVP on a bad team. You have weapons. You're the best receiver in football. One of the best defenses in football. Does it have flaws? Yes. But you know what? Patrick Mahomes won a Super Bowl with the defense that was actually worse than the Packers. If you are as badass as what you think he is, then he should elevate the team around him, and the team should not choke in the biggest moments. He hasn't been back to the Super Bowl in over a decade. He's a bad man, right? Or is he just bad? Well, an MVP isn't bad, but I don't blame the organization, not one little bit. He says culture is in question when you win and there's no answers from the players. Yeah, because, okay, the coach made a stupid decision to not, to go for the field goal late in that game. But if your D-bag quarterback, all right, if your D-bag quarterback would have ran it in instead of, throwing it away and actually maybe doing his job and completing a pass or making a play, my goodness, what are you talking about?
So, Cassius Clay, do you make that trade for Julio? Do you want Julio with Green Bay? And do you think if you do make that trade for Julio, does Aaron Rodgers show up?
Well, he says, Julio, this is what we're dealing with. Julio Jones, not good anymore.
All right, we're done.
Yep.
We're cool. Thanks, Cassius.
Listen, stream, watch. It's the Justin Kinner Show with Kev Nash right here on Dayton's ESPN Radio, 1410 Wing AM. ESPN 1410 Wing AM weather.
This afternoon will be partly cloudy, a high near 85. Tonight's going to be mainly clear, a low near 61. And tomorrow will be mainly clear, a high near 86. I'm Pete Spivak for 1410 ESPN Radio.
Wendy's Frosty Chino is cold brew with frosty creamer. What does that mean? It means we took rich, smooth cold brew and then added your choice of vanilla or chocolate frosty creamer. Can you say good morning? Or better yet, Wendy's Frosty Chino? It's cold brew with frosty creamer. It's only at Wendy's and it's delicious. So ditch the stuffy coffee shop and say hasta la vista, barista. Choose wisely. Choose Wendy's Frosty Chino and start your morning right.
At participating U.S. Wendy's.
Many Vietnam War veterans were unknowingly exposed to dangerous chemicals impacting their health and quality of life. There are now expanded benefits for veterans exposed to Agent Orange. Veterans with Parkinsonism, bladder cancer, or hypothyroidism who previously applied for VA disability compensation but were denied should reapply and might be eligible for retroactive compensation. Exposed veterans who have not yet applied should consider filing a new claim. For assistance, call Montgomery County Veterans Service Commission at 937-225-4801.
Cordell Transportation is now hiring Class A CDL drivers. $5,000 sign-on bonus. That's right, $5,000 sign-on bonus. Home daily dedicated lanes, no-touch freight. Apply today at CordellTransportation.com. Cordell Transportation, driven to succeed.
Whether it's next-day delivery or getting involved in their local communities, Napa goes above and beyond to serve you because their motor never quits. That's Napa know-how.
The Reds are on the radio. Every hit, every strikeout, every Reds victory. You can catch all of the action all season long right here on Dayton's home of the Reds, 1410 ESPN Radio. College football playoffs, Browns, Bengals, Buckeyes, and more. Catch the Keith Byers Show Mondays at noon on 1410 ESPN Radio.
Let's bring on the Raiders head baseball coach, Alex Sogard. Coach, first of all, congratulations. What a weekend. What a season. What a year. You're heading back to the NCAA championships. Congratulations. Welcome in. I appreciate your time today.
No, I appreciate you having me. Thanks a lot.
Absolutely. We appreciate your time. And I want to start off, for one, congratulations. What a week this has been. What a season this has been. I mean, if you rewind to a year ago when you were told that your season is just abruptly coming to a halt right after picking up momentum, taking 2 of 3 from Tennessee, getting a couple big wins against some really good top 25 teams, against the number 1 team in the country last year, not being able to build on that, your season coming to an end, and then getting to pick up right where you guys left off and capping it off with the Horizon League title and hoping to add to it, with the regional in Knoxville this weekend. I'm pretty sure this past year and a half has probably been one of the most emotionally draining and yet rewarding seasons of your career, I'm sure.
Yeah, there's no doubt about that. I mean, I think looking back, it seems like forever ago now, but, we were practicing on Thursday, getting ready for the home opener of conference play against Milwaukee, and there was some rumors stirring that, the season could get suspended, it could get, canceled, which seemed pretty surreal at the time. But I think the night before, the NBA had just canceled their season, and sure enough, in the middle of practice, I got a call saying our season was indefinitely suspended and likely going to get canceled. And that's not something you really prepare for. And so I just had to call the team up and let them know and try to be optimistic and say, listen, we don't know for sure yet. And so, our guys, just being who they are, they wanted to finish practice. They wanted to finish, being together. And then the following Monday, we got the official news that the season was canceled. And actually, we couldn't meet as a team because of the state of the country, which was kind of crazy. Everyone had gone home, to quarantine and all that. So just a really wild ride. And when you fast forward to now, it's pretty incredible because we were able to keep basically the whole team together. We lost one guy, but all our seniors came back. So this year was very special. It was very special. And I think our guys were just that more determined after going through something like they went through last year.
No doubt. And look, we learned last year that life is way bigger than sports. And although we do rely on sports a lot, I mean, obviously that's your livelihood, that's your family's livelihood for obvious reasons. But, did it make it tougher last year knowing what kind of talented group you had? Like, if you're a team that, you're in a rebuilding type of situation, or, you just are young and you don't have the talent to really compete to maybe win a league title or get to the NCAA championships. Not saying that those teams were fine with their season abruptly ending. But, they probably didn't feel like as much was taken from them as maybe a team like yourself, who, again, coming off a huge win against one of the number 1 teams in the country. You take 2 of 3 from Tennessee last year. You guys are building something. You're rolling. You know what kind of talent you have on that roster. Did that make it even tougher to swallow? Again, it was tough for everybody, but did knowing how talented of a group you had make that an even tougher pill to swallow when the news came down?
Yeah, there's no doubt. There's no doubt that it did, because when you go back to the 2019 season, we had a lot of success, and then we had a bad day in the tournament, and felt like we were a regional team, but we didn't make it to a regional. And so in 2020, that was our goal, is to get back to where we belong. And so it was tough. It was tough. I think it was even harder on the guys and even some of our guys that were looking to play professionally, because, they cut the MLB draft from 40 rounds to 5. And so now we have guys coming back that we didn't think were going to come back. And, guys thought they were going to start their career professionally and came back. So there was definitely it was a hard time for everyone, like it was everyone across the world. But, like I said, I think because we were able to return our entire team, this is definitely the closest group we've ever had since I've been here. And I think, going through all that adversity has helped us grow together. And the guys have just had that, determination, kind of laser-like focus really since the fall. I mean, and I think because it was taken away once, and they just wanted to make sure that they didn't take anything for granted.
Look, we're used to seeing the success of this program. And obviously, the brand of Wright State baseball has built itself up to being, a national brand. You guys aren't strangers. When these regional pairings come out and these number 1 and number 2 seeds see, a 4 seed Wright State, it's not like, sometimes for 4 seeds, you have to go find out, I didn't even know that was a school. That's not the case for Wright State. Now, you guys, you're no stranger to competition. You don't shy away from it. When you look at your non-conference, you totally just challenge yourself. You don't ease into the season season, it's just guns a-blazing. You go out there and you're ready to start swinging right off the bat. What is it like when you have that national reputation now and you go up against these premier programs, not just, top Power 5 programs, but top 25 programs, top 10 programs? Do they say thanks to you guys? What are some things that you hear on the road when you travel, whether it's the broadcast itself or even from opposing coaches? You guys have that respect. What are some things that you guys hear, around the country from your opponents, especially when you're picking up and you're going out to challenge yourself early?
For sure. Yeah. We hear a few things. Some of the coaches call us crazy just for the strength of schedule we do early on, because a lot of those teams are trying to just get some wins under their belt, where we like to get challenged right away. I think more now, we're known on a national level a little more, and so we maybe don't come as much of a surprise to some of these teams. They know we're going to come in talented. But at the end of the series, we typically do get some compliments on the way we play. I like our guys to play hard, regardless of the score. And so that's something I preach a lot, and we typically get complimented on doing that. But I think, like you said, we like a challenge. I think our guys are very confident, and they thrive in these environments. And I'm just as confident in them. I really believe that we can compete and play with any team that we step on the field against, and that's kind of the mindset of our players as well.
We have Alex Sogard with us. You guys are a 4 seed, in the Knoxville Regional. You guys have Tennessee on Friday night. I'm not trying to put you in a position to say anything negative, because this is it's been a great regular season, a great run. But help me out with this, because I'm not going to pretend to be a college baseball aficionado when it comes to this. But what in the hell is the purpose of the RPI? Because I don't understand when you look at what the things that you guys do, and is it just because you're a mid-major program? I mean, what is it that the RPI just does not move the meter for you guys in getting a more respectable seed? And maybe I'm being the negative Nancy here. I don't know, but you can correct me. But is that ever a frustration for you? Oh, for sure. I mean, I think you hit the nail on the head a little bit. I was a little frustrated. I was, and it's tough because you're around the team and they're excited. And to me, I took it like a slap in the face. I'll be honest. I was pissed off. But then I was, after processing it, you realize that at the end of the day, it doesn't matter. You got to beat all the teams anyway, and every team's going to be talented in these regionals. And so, did I think we were a lock for a 3 seed? I did, but again, that doesn't matter at this point. But it is interesting. You wonder what they were looking at, because you hear that the RPI does matter, and ours was 25th in the country, and obviously when you look at statistics, we have some pretty good statistics to back it up. So I'm not sure. I've gotten a lot of people saying that the Tennessee fans, if I was Tony Vitello, I probably wouldn't be too happy either. I mean, that guy's done a phenomenal job over at Tennessee. The guy earned a 3 seed. And then all of a sudden, NCAA is going to throw us as the 4 seed in their tournament. So it's interesting, but again, I think for us, it doesn't matter who we're playing. We still know we can compete with them, and we embrace the challenge regardless of our seed. Because, like I say, you got to beat them all anyway. So it doesn't matter what number you are. Yeah, and plus you're at least within driving distance of Wright State this time, as opposed to having to go all the way out on the West Coast. So I know I'm excited about that, being able to go to the game. So I'm pretty excited about that. I'm so happy for you guys. I mean, this has been such a weird year, of course, with COVID and everything. And like you said, to be able to get the majority of all but one of your roster back, to still give them the chance to compete for what they were looking forward to last year. This is huge. I mean, you talent all up and down the roster. Quincy Hamilton, who I just got word, and named the collegiate baseball first team All-American. I mean, just unbelievable talent. One of many unbelievable talents you have on this roster. Just talk about some of the key components you have right now with the guys that have that came back and have been a part of this run to get to this point of the season. Yeah, obviously, Quincy, what an awesome story with that kid. A Centerville High kid, local kid, redshirted and didn't get to play much his first few years. He was behind two top 10 rounders and the NCAA Gold Glove winner in center field. So he had to wait his turn a little bit, but we knew how talented he was.
And it's just awesome to see that the world got to see it this year. You know, the guy ends up being player of the year, and then just got, like you said, I heard this morning he was a first-team All-American, which is such a tremendous honor. When you look at that, there's 3 outfielders in the whole country that made it on first team, and he was one of them. So really cool, and he's about as humble as it gets. And so he's obviously a big part of our team. And then, you know, Damon Dews is our shortstop. He's kind of our spark plug at the top of the lineup. He makes us go. You know, he's a guy that got a lot of pro interest last summer, decided to come back. Tyler Black, who's probably the biggest pro prospect we have, will likely go top 3, top 5 rounds in the draft this year. Is our second baseman, just a really good hitter, good feel for the strike zone. And then some of our younger guys, Sammy Sass, who's a second-year freshman, and Alex Thayer. I call those guys the Bash Brothers because they've just come in and done a great job and put up some power numbers. But I think our whole lineup is deep 1 through 9. You know, I think that's what I love about it. It's like if you get through it one time, we're already back at the top, and good luck trying to get through it again.
Alex Sogard, Wright State baseball coach, with us here on Reach the Horizon, the official podcast of the Horizon League. The Raiders heading back to the NCAA championship after capturing their 4th Horizon League title in the last 6 seasons. In fact, they're heading to the Knoxville Regional as the 4th seed, and they're going to be taking on Tennessee in their opening game Friday night, 6 o'clock on ESPN3. Coach, if you don't mind, just kind of how is this matchup going to unfold? I mean, what are some of the strengths and weaknesses of Tennessee that you feel could potentially hurt your team? And as far as their strengths, and what about their weaknesses? What are some of the weaknesses that you feel confident that you match up with the Volunteers pretty well? I thought you made a great point earlier. You know, it's easy to focus on the fact that you felt you were underseeded, but you're not the only one upset about that, because if Tennessee probably is in the same boat. I mean, you're not a traditional 4th seed. You are one of the more talented 4th seeds. So as far as that goes, this is going to be a very interesting matchup because you have the talent to match up with these guys.
Yeah, they're a really good team. I think they're a very similar team to us a little way. You know, they have a lot of speed. They like to steal bases. They're aggressive offensively. They can really swing the bats, and then they have some power arms like we do as well. So it's definitely going to be a dogfight. I think, you know, because we played there last year, that helps us out a little bit just because we're familiar with the team, we're familiar with the stadium. But also they're not going to forget that we handed them their only 2 losses last season. So I think it's a 2-way street there. So, you know, I think the guys are excited for the challenge because no doubt they're one of the best teams in the country. But like I said, we like to embrace those challenges. And I think if we pitch it well, I think if we can, if our pitchers can keep us in the game, you know, it'll give our offense a chance to give us a fight.
All right, good stuff. Alex Sogard, Wright State head baseball coach, good enough to join us. Wright State heading back to the NCAA championship after capturing its 4th Horizon League title in the last 6 seasons. Wright State, Tennessee, Friday night, 6 o'clock on ESPN3. Coach, thanks so much for your time. We're pulling for you. This is such a fun and exciting team to watch, and we'll be touching base here soon, especially with the draft around the corner, since you're going to be flooding the draft with a lot of prospects. So we're excited about that too.
No problem. Thank you again for having me. I appreciate it.
It's the Justin Kinner Show with Kev Nash on 1410 ESPN Radio.
O'Reilly. Get more miles on the road with O'Reilly Auto Parts. A clean fuel system means better gas mileage for your car. Right now at O'Reilly Auto Parts, get 2 bottles of Lucas Fuel Injector Cleaner for $8. Plus, earn double O Rewards points. For a clean, lubricated, more fuel-efficient system, stop by O'Reilly Auto Parts today or visit O'ReillyAuto.com.
O'Reilly Auto Parts.
According to the National Institutes of Health, 30% of hospital admissions in older adults are drug-related, like taking meds at the wrong time. Hero Health simplifies medication management. The smart device stores up to 90 days worth of up to 10 different pills. It dispenses them at the push of a button. Try Hero risk-free for 30 days and get free contactless delivery. Just call 800-420-7550. That's 800-420-7550. 800-420-7550. Hero, medication managed.
Listen to this station anytime, anywhere on Odyssey. Odyssey is your new audio home for all the music, news, sports, and podcasts that matter to you. Odyssey. That's AUDACY.
If you need new roofing, siding, or gutters, skylights, or patio enclosures, if you're a homeowner or business and need someone you can trust, don't take a chance. Enhance with Lance. Lance Roofing and Siding in Fairborn has been satisfying customers since 1993 and hold an A+ rating with the Better Business Bureau. Lance Roofing and Siding, 8460 Dayton Springfield Road in Fairborn. Call for a free estimate at 864-2722. That's 864-2722 or online at lanceroofing.com.
It's time you did something about those ugly glasses and old contacts. Get your best vision with Dr. Patrick Spencer of iWorks Laser and Vision Center. Call 937-226-7870 for $1,000 off. All laser LASIK surgery from the doctor trusted by the UD Flyers and Dayton Dragons. Start seeing your best with 100% blade-free LASIK. Schedule an appointment today. Call 937-226-7870 or visit iWorksLVC.com. Because at iWorks, it's about seeing your best.
Because it's my vision, I take the most studied eye vitamin brand.
Because it's my vision, I take the eye vitamin brand backed by 20 years of research.
Because it's my vision, I take PreserVision.
Age-related macular degeneration is the leading cause of vision loss in adults over 60. That's why the National Eye Institute did 20 years of clinical studies on the formula that's found in PreserVision. From the eye experts at Bausch & Lomb, PreserVision AREDS 2 formula eye vitamins contain the exact nutrient formula recommended by the National Eye Institute to help reduce the risk of moderate to advanced AMD progression.
Because it's my vision, I made a plan with my doctor that includes PreserVision. Find PreserVision in the vitamin aisle and look for savings on PreserVision AREDS 2 in your local paper. Available at Walmart.
These statements have not been evaluated by the Food and Drug Administration. This product is not intended to diagnose, treat, cure, or prevent any disease.
I can't take this
I have
anymore.
nowhere to go. I lost my job.
I feel alone.
Crisis Text Line is here to help day or night. Text 4HOPE to 741-741 for free and confidential support. Text with a trained volunteer to move from that hot moment to a cool calm.
Hello, it's John Kozik, founder and president of TurboTrack Realty, and I buy houses as is, fast for cash. Call me today for an all-cash offer on any of your properties, and we can close within days at 614-362-2000, 362-2000. Do you own a property that's outdated and needs thousands of dollars in repairs? Great, I'll buy it. I'm a private real estate investor who can solve your real estate problems fast for cash. Do you want to sell and just be done with it? Okay, great. I buy vacant properties, boarded up houses, pre-foreclosures, and inherited properties. I also buy apartment buildings, rental portfolios, divorce homes. I even buy my tenant won't pay me the rent houses. I look forward to solving your real estate problems today. Give me a call for an all-cash offer at 614-362-2000, 614-362-2000.
Mattress Firm's best Memorial Day sale ever has been extended for a limited time. Shop and save up to $500 on top-rated brands like Sealy and Sleepy's.
On Twitter, make sure to give us a follow. Search 1410 Kinner for Justin Kinner on Twitter. That's 1410 KINNER and ESPN Dayton for the station Twitter handle.
Justin Kinner, Kev Nash with you here on 1410 ESPN Radio. I'm really sick of hearing about Aaron Rodgers. I really am. Like that.